my voice sound alright? I feel like I haven't got any depth to this.
Oh, look at that proximity effect.
I don't know.
If you get up nice and close.
But then I feel like I'm freaking people out.
Close to the camera, sir.
Yeah, I don't know how close to be. Because I've always heard that you want to have like a mic like a fist from your face is what I've heard.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I don't really know.
I don't know, because I guess if you're singing, you're naturally going to be belting your voice more.
Yeah, that's me singing.
That's delightful, but...
Fuck you.
I'm wet, I don't mind.
Twat.
Yeah, I don't know, I think like this is a good distance.
Hmm.
It depends, like when you get right up close, it's really intense.
Well, here's what I'm trying to do here, because I know from last time. I don't know. This is it's obviously the setup's the same, but I feel more relaxed than last time, because I feel like last time I was really conscious of the mic and everything.
Yeah, I was. I mean, he says just moving it about, but I think you've done an awful lot of these now.
Done a few, yeah.
What are you roughly on now? Or if you know a precise figure, even better.
This will be 39.
39. So.
And the last time I was here, it was 12.
12. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you're a lot better now with. I don't know. You just have a lot more experience with everything now.
Yeah. True.
So
yeah.
I guess you're a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know from the little bits I've looked back at, I was very conscious of kind of going, oh, no, I'm looking at the camera. Oh, no, I'm looking at it again. Well, it's weird.
It's literally been 2 weeks that I've started having the camera so I can't see it. Because when again, last time we were here, we had it so it was facing us, so I was always checking to make sure it's fine.
Yeah.
But now it's actually recording. I'm fucking paranoid. It's not fucking recording.
now you're going to be shitting yourself. It's fine. It's fine. It will be.
Yeah, it's fine. But now I know that. Because I can't see it, it's like I'm not gonna keep checking. There's nothing to look at. It's like
I was gonna say it's not. What phone is that?
11 Pro.
It's nice.
It's
nice.
It's naughty. I got as soon as I got it. I just went, oh, it's wider than I've had before, and I went
girthier in the hands. Can't go wrong.
I was like, oh, that sounds familiar.
Well, if it fills your hands, mate, and you got a smile on your face, it's a good fucking day.
Well, I haven't got small hands, so it's all good. Pianist, like we were talking about last time, it was pianist hand. It's pianist, yeah, Rachmaninoff's hands. There you go.
Yeah, okay, so
Iron Audi hands. I like that. Iron Audi hands.
Ooh.
Iron Audi hands.
Iron Audi, you cannot go wrong with Iron Audi.
Mate,
he gets a fucking lot of hate by
who?
By musical elitists.
Oh, fuck off.
Literally,
we say his name is Iron Audi. How the fuck can anyone be saying they're more elite than him?
Oh, he's
Jesus.
But his music's incredible. Like, it's just beautiful.
And it's not. It's not hard or complicated.
That's why he's slated, which I think is awful. He's making music that it evokes emotions, and it's specifically designed to evoke those emotions.
Yeah, man.
It's beautiful and it's accessible. I think a lot of it, which I find fascinating, especially in the classical kind of, I say that very loosely, like the umbrella term of the classical side of music. It's the more popular you are, the more you're hated. It's bizarre. It's almost like the kind of race to who can make the most academically correct and interesting music.
Yeah, I feel that.
And only be enjoyed and appreciated by the other musical elites, like the academic elites. And it's fun. It's such a bizarre and toxic environment. It's like anything remotely popular. Nah, it's shit. I think it's just such a stupid fucking circle to live like that.
Well,
it's just like, I don't know. It makes no sense.
I guess it's just egotism, really, though, isn't it? It's like, oh, we are the governing board who had defined musical standards to be X. If you don't meet these standards, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
And you're like, but you're a small minority of the general population.
Well, that's it. And they look down their nose at everybody, and you're there going,
yeah. But everyone else loves it, and I'm making money off it. Like, what are you doing?
That's the thing. I think if they're like genuinely happy, then I can't think of the philosopher. It will come to me. But he it was on like utilitarianism. They were talking about like the greater good. So looking John
Stuart Mill, yeah, or Jeremy Bentham.
That's it. So Bentham was quantitative, whereas Mill was qualitative. I should know. I did study philosophy.
So did I, yeah, a long time ago
at university. But
I didn't go that far. You got no fucking excuse there, mate.
No fucking excuse. But yeah, it's like I could understand if they were genuinely happy from it, but they only ever seem to be criticizing and always in a very bitter stance. And you just think change your own kind of parameters, really.
Well, and also the people who were philosophers, it's not exactly like they were fucking builders or anything. As in, no, not disparaging builders. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
the people who were philosophers had all of their needs cared for. They had an extremely privileged life. Like look at fucking Descartes or
Yeah.
Thomas Aquinas, fucking member of the
Sweet
member of the
Aquinas.
clergy. You mean, like, come on, mate, calm down.
I was going to say it's from a very kind of powerful position, or a very privileged position.
I mean, the only one that I can think of off the top of my head that stands out would be Plato, who was a fucking bare knuckle boxer. That's the only one I can think of that was like down to earth, as it were.
Yeah, that's right. I see, my ancient Greek philosophy's very appalling. I never enjoyed studying that. But it was Socrates.
I know three: Socrates, Aristotle. Aristotle is your boy.
That's it. And then Socrates was the one everyone fucking hated and ended up poisoning at the end. Is that right?
So he taught them, but he was no one liked him.
I don't know. I can't remember which way around it was. Was it Socrates told stories of Plato's?
No, so Socrates was a teacher.
Right.
He taught Plato and Aristotle.
Right. Okay. No, getting it the wrong way around.
Yeah.
Thank fuck I didn't stick at philosophy.
Mate, I only remember for Plato, I only remember his bloody cave story, because I started reading the Republic and went,
That's some heavy
I'm
shit.
out.
Some heavy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will try it again. I'm just like, some books just can't do it.
So you're a big book fanatic, and my reading repertoire is kind of ends at Lemony Snicket back at.
Oh mate, why are you doing that to yourself? Fucking Lemony,
I
depressing.
I mean, it explains a lot, but yeah. So I love Lemony Snicket when I was younger. I've just not really read. So I was supposed to pick up the Lord of the Rings books because I've never read them, and I'd love to. But ended up getting the trilogy they just released in 4K, which that suits me to a T.
Yeah, man.
But so I've been looking at, obviously, then the kind of whole book series and the lore from Tolkien, and then I think one of them is the
Silmarillion.
That's
the prequel. Yeah, that's the prequel.
Now that one, from what I can see, it's absolutely it's a ridiculously tough read.
I've got halfway through it and went, I need a break, and I need to start again.
So when you come up to tackle something like Silmarillion, does it excite you that it's going to be a difficult read, or is that just kind of a necessary evil?
It's a necessary evil. It's not. It's some of it is interesting because you learn about like Morgoth and all the reigns of different dynasties of elves. Like, like Galadriel was like the oldest living fucking elf. And you're like, shit. I just know it. It's not a pleasurable read. Like the Hobbit is easy. Where you're like, that's a good story. But yeah, like the fucking Silmarillion is like. Ugh. So I started it in the summer. Yeah. And I was like, cool. I've got this. This is my difficult fiction, and I've got easy fiction. Okay, I've got to read a chapter of this a day, and then I can read however much of that. And I just fell out of the habit because I got halfway through and I was like, I'm doing well, and then I just lost it, which I'm really annoyed about.
No, because I didn't realize how many books there were by Tolkien just in the whole Lord of the Rings universe. Yeah. And and then you're looking at all these different lore videos, and they're explaining, the best way you should read the books in what particular order based on it's fascinating.
What are they saying for a reading order?
Because there's so many books, I would butcher it. I'll show you a video after this because they suggest 3 different ways. So some of them, like one of the ways is the kind of what they say, like your first time reading through the series, you start with The Hobbit, then go to Lord of the Rings, and then progress. And then I think the Silmarillion is either the last, but then in one of them, Silmarillion is something like the 3rd book you read, and then something like the Two Towers is like the 8th book you read, and then it's a really convoluted order. But yeah, it's a. I'd love to tackle it, but equally for me, considering I've not really read in years, it seems like such a daunting task.
They are not easy reading. They're heavy books. Lord of the Rings, same thing again. I got because Tolkien, he wrote them. The stories are all from tales he told his kids to fall asleep.
Yeah.
So he made them the way they are, so it would relax the kids and they'd fall asleep. But equally, they would wrap it up each chapter.
Yeah.
So that they were like, so they weren't questioning what happened. They were like, oh, okay, cool. Gandalf came in and saved them or whatever.
Sure.
And then they'd start. Then the next night would be the next chapter or whatever. But yeah, the Lord of the Rings. I started reading that, and there's literally an entire chapter just describing like woods, and I'm like,
bloody hell,
why? Because I can't. So my mum gave me the book. She was like, read through this. I was like, how'd you make it through this? She was like, oh no, I just skimmed all of that and went through. But I was like, I can't skim. I have to read every word.
Sure.
I can't skim read. I'm like, I can't. It's just how my brain works.
Yeah.
So that is a real daunting task. So I'm like,
yeah, I can imagine.
I'll read fucking about trees for 8 pages. I'm like, and it's all tiny script as well.
Oh, Jesus.
So if you haven't read in ages, I'd put that on a shelf for a while and start something else.
Build up to it.
Yeah, do like I don't know, read like Aragon or something, or Magician's Guild, Mortal Engines, that sort of stuff. That'd be good because it's still fiction. Still sci-fi. Should be cool.
I think that was it. Like, you're talking about the Republic. I remember having to read that on my course, and that it was just painful. Like, and so I'm like you. I can't skim read, and then I don't know. My brain works in very bizarre ways. I think we're saying it just doesn't work. But through when I'm reading, I'll read a line, get onto the next line, and then question the fact, shit, have I just skipped a line? So I'm terrible. I end up kind of rereading every line. I'll kind of go across, down, up. So it's always like 1 step forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
Or like 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
And it's probably why I don't enjoy reading.
Fair enough.
But I guess with I think the more I do it, the better you. It's like anything, the better you become at it. It's like a practice.
It is.
Start. I think because I don't do it much, that's why I naturally then question have I read it? Have I understood it? And yeah, if I'm then reading chapters on describing woods, I think I would drive myself nuts.
Yeah, I had to stop. Yeah.
But I would like to at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I only watched the extended trilogy over Christmas.
Well, mate,
first time I've seen the extended ones.
Mate, the extended is fucking awesome. I don't know why they don't keep some of the bits in, because you find out like the bits
so much,
like the bits about Aragorn. I'm like, this should be in the main storyline because
100%.
it's so key and it's so interesting. Because you're like, this dude's a fucking half elf.
Yeah,
and like they never explain that, and you're like, come on.
But it's fascinating. So, like I've seen all Lord of the Rings. Then I bought them on the Blu-ray one. But I'd never never seen the extended one. And when they released the remasters of them, I went, got me in 4K. It's a no fucking brainer. And then the extended, right? Literally. And it was absolutely incredible watching through it. Going, like, you can see where they cut, because you go, hang on, like, I recognise this bit, but Jesus Christ. And it's fascinating. Actually, so much of the story is it's about an hour to an hour and a half.
Extra?
Yeah. You're there going, it's long films anyway. You shouldn't have a different version.
I agree.
Like, the amount you lose from it is ridiculous.
And the people who are going to watch it are going to be avid Tolkien fans, so they will invest the time to go and watch it.
Which is probably why they did it as a marketing.
Yeah, true. You said it twice. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, I've bought them 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same as Star Wars. Like, I mean, Star Wars, they can release anything and people will buy it. It doesn't. Yeah. The quality doesn't exist anymore, except for the Mandalorian. So I've heard.
See, I've seen a couple of episodes of the first series, and it was good.
Cool.
I just wasn't interested.
Yeah,
enough. I like Star Wars. I'm a bit hit or miss with it. Sometimes, if I'm in the mood, I'll go for it. But
yeah, I mean, the last time I watched it, it was at my mate's house, and we got baked and just took the piss out of the third one. It was so funny. It was so much fun. We was ripping the shit out of the whole film.
Oh, okay. You say the third one. See, naturally, my assumption would be, Revenge of the Sith?
Fine. Return of the Dead. Return. Yes, that's correct. Yes. Yeah.
Which
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah. Whenever I say the third one, I mean episode 3.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'm exactly the same with you, but I know there are Star Wars purists that the third one would be.
They did release order, yeah. No, I don't. So stupid. He's got.
I grew up on the prequel, so I don't really know.
Yeah, but
to me, that's always
prequel's fine. But he's got numbers on these films
for a reason.
Exactly. Therefore, the fucking number is what it is.
Yeah, because then there's like a hierarchy. I guess a bit like the books, but it's a bit different with the books, as there isn't kind of a chronological order to them. They're part of a universe. So yeah. That's what they're doing. They've got a chronological order based on Tolkien's time frames. Then one's on when he wrote them, and I don't know. It's all very. I'll show you. But with Star Wars, it's exactly the same. With what order do you watch it, and people will define you on it. For me, I would just, if I was to do a marathon, I'd start with episode 1, which isn't coincidentally the 4th film.
And we're not doing that. We're doing episodes. Okay,
I would go episode 1,
just all the way through.
Because to me, I don't know. Plus, Conjure, I don't really like episode 4, 5, and 6. Like, they're not bad. I just don't know. The first Star Wars I saw was episode 1, Phantom Menace. So I think it's like a version of a song. If you hear an acoustic cover of the song before you've heard the original, probably going to like what you heard first, as it's just more familiarity, more familiar.
You good England, well done.
Oh my god, I've got.
No, that's very interesting because I would have thought because I would have thought that if I was going to recommend them to someone, I'd recommend them to watch them in the order that I'd seen it, which was 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
Rogue One.
No. 1, 2, 3, 7, Rogue One, 8, 9.
Which does make sense.
Which is how that's how I saw it. So I watched it as they came out. But that's interesting that you started with Phantom Menace, because then that makes perfect sense for you to watch it again from that order. That makes sense.
100%. I guess it would be like the Hobbit films. In theory, I personally can't stand the Hobbit films. I say can't stand. I don't feel that strong when compared to the Lord of the Rings. Trilogy,
no compare. No comparison.
But it would make sense to start with the Hobbit trilogy, then go on to Lord of the Rings. But for me, I guess because I've started with Fellowship,
I agree.
I would always recommend starting that, and then
absolutely,
if you really want, watch the Hobbit. But it wouldn't get my recommendation.
But that makes sense though, because it's the
way I saw it,
and also the quality. Objectively, the quality is not as good. So not of cinematography. We're not talking about
CGI.
We're not talking about how it looks. We're talking about the content isn't as good.
Yeah, well, it makes sense, isn't it? They stretched one book across 3 films,
and they made up so much shit. I'm like, have you read The Hobbit?
No.
Okay, it's good. That's not too hard to read. That's good.
See, if I do read when I read through them, I would start with The Hobbit, and then go Fellowship.
Yeah. So they made up Azog. He doesn't exist. Shelob's in it.
Okay.
Doesn't exist. You're like, great. You've got Fangorn Forest. You've got Mirkwood. Barely even touched on that. You're like, cool.
I fucking hated the first Hobbit film. I can't even remember what it's called. All I remember is the singing scene that just seemed.
Unexpected Journey.
Too long.
Yeah,
was wasting time.
The second was my favourite purely because of that scene when they escape Mirkwood in the barrels.
I was gonna say, is that down the river?
It's so funny.
And Legolas is.
That killed me. That was so funny.
It was so comical.
Yeah, you're like, why is this in a Lord of the Rings film? Then the third one, I'm like, such a waste of time.
You're bored by there.
Yeah, but equally, again, they've all fucked up. Like, the Battle of the Five Armies. There's not 5 armies in the fucking film.
Yeah, see, I don't remember it well. I watched it a while ago and remember it being.
Like, where are these 5 armies? What are you talking about?
I remember an army looking down. I can't even remember if they got engaged.
You've got dwarves, elves, orcs, and men. But that's in the film.
Yeah.
But in the book, you've got goblins as well, and that will still be recorded, right?
Yeah.
But in the book, the army for men isn't like, it's not even a fucking army. It's some fucking fishermen that just suddenly have like spears and bows, and you're like, what are you talking about?
Like a peasant army.
So that's in the film. But in the book, Gondor turns up, and you're like, cool, because they were like, oh, sweet, Smaug's dead. Let's all get this loot, and everyone turns up.
Yeah.
Because Gondor's like, right, let's go, let's split this up. And
really Gondor.
Whereas here, it's like 50 dudes with like who have like nets and like fishing rods, and you're like, that's not an army. What the fuck are you talking about?
I just didn't enjoy it, and for me, I really don't. I remember someone said to me they couldn't get in. They were a massive Star Wars fan, and they were always saying, the technology and the CGI at the time, the way they filmed everything, incredible. Take my hat off and say absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not detesting that.
Yeah.
And then you look at Lord of the Rings and it's fucking shit CGI. And I was like, do you know what? The only time I noticed was actually in The Hobbit, where I went, hang on, why does The Hobbit now look like cartoon-like? Like, it looks unbelievably bad CGI, yet it's so much more recent than The Lord of the Rings. And I've never once kind of questioned like the prosthetics or
it's so dumb.
I think it's so,
it's so shallow as well.
I just thought fucking stupid.
Well, and also because of like Azog. I mean, I think Azog is an exception because they used a physical body and then CGI'd his face.
Yeah.
But like all of the armies and all the other characters are all in The Hobbit are all CGI.
Yeah.
But if you look at Lord of the Rings, obviously the big battle scenes are CGI, but all the individual, like in the second one, like all the Uruk-hai, those are people, and they're just dressed up. Those are physical people.
Yeah.
And there's something about the brain, whereas if something's CGI, you're like, okay, if it's like particularly the Uruk-hai, like if you look at CGI Uruk-hai, you're like, not interested, CGI or nothing. If there's a dude a physical person dressed up like that, you're like, oh shit, that's fucking terrifying, because it's a physical. Your body knows it's a physical 3-dimensional object.
Yeah.
Made to look scary. And you're like, that's terrifying.
It just feels so much more authentic.
It is, because it is. It's a physical object, and you're like, whoa.
I can think of, like, you know, there's that scene in the Two Towers where they're at Helm's Deep, and it pans over and you see the tens of thousands of Urukai.
Yeah,
you can see that CGI, but it's not jarring. But you're right, like every single one, it's you don't question it. Whereas the minute you watch The Hobbit, I was just watching it going, I feel like this is just shit, which to me makes no sense. Is if they got it so right in Lord of the Rings, why do they either not just do the same or build upon it? They just seem to have gone down a CGI route, and it just seemed to, I don't know, it just looked cheap.
Well, with Helm's Deep, the thing that's brilliant about it is that the big shots are obviously CGI, but like when they've got the shot where it's just like the front ranks, those are fucking real people.
Yeah,
and you're like, that's scary as shit. Because like, and again with authenticity, like that scene when that battle starts, it wasn't supposed to rain. So rain was not part of it. Then it started raining, and they all just went and just carried on with it. Like those are all real reactions, and you're like, fuck.
But it's those tiny little things that all add up to the overall experience. And like thinking, you know, where the suicide bomber is like running through.
Oh yeah.
The Urukai. Like even that's fucking terrifying.
And that's an actual dude with a fucking flaming torch. You're like, shit.
So I started to watch a couple of I think I watched the Fellowship of the Ring, like the behind the scenes, and then ended up getting like all the like fun interviews and ones where you know, they're taking the piss out of Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
The guy playing
Easy Target.
I can't think of his name.
Frodo.
Yeah, Frodo, but the guy that plays Merry. No.
I can't.
Oh, I'm getting this complete. Yeah, I can't think of his actor's name, but he was pretending to be like a German interview host and was just taking it. It was fucking brilliant. It's well worth a watch. It's really bugging me because I watched it after watching, you know, they did the Zoom call.
Yes.
With all the cast.
Yeah, that's cool.
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. And the actor that played Gimli, he was fucking class. He was like, oh, let me move the camera a bit.
Gimli's brilliant. It's like, I just love that bit in the second one where they're like panning across. You got all the elves, just a big gap. He's at the top of his head, and he's just like, "Oh, you could have picked a better spot." He's like, "What's going on?"
You just see him getting so agitated, jumping up and down, like, gagging at the bit.
Yeah, him and Legolas, like their interaction is fucking class. He's just
body counts throughout.
Yeah, well, also just like, just not even before they start fighting. It's like to begin with, it's just like. He's like, what's going on? And he's like, shall I describe it to you? Or would you like me to find you a box? Oh, yeah, I was wondering I was being a bit loud.
No, that's right. I was just clipping a little bit.
See, this is why I need to do something with you more often. Because you can be like, hey, just a little bit, you know.
It's fine. You still sound beautiful. Just get some nice clipping saturation in you.
It's funny what you said about looking more cartoony, because there is an actual cartoon of the first two films of Lord of the Rings.
Right, okay.
A physical, drawn-out one. It is so bad, but it's interesting they made it.
Right.
Yeah, it's so laughable, but it's just so cringy, like 80s drawing. But
my god!
But it's brilliant. It's amazing because you're like, this is like first attempt at it to try and make it into a thing, and you're like, this is just so appalling. But it's awesome that they made it. So
would it be one of those things that say in some bizarre world they never made Lord of the Rings as we know it, and that was the only animation or film of it? Yeah. Do you think it would be better? Like, you know, because your mind's therefore potentially being swayed by the quality you're used to.
Potentially, I think if you'd.
I'll have to watch it and see. Actually, I'm
it's interesting. Did you ever see You know, the Beatles made a bunch of films.
Yes.
Like those cartoon weird psychedelic things. It's the exact same animation.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but not with the colours, but it's the same style.
Sure.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing.
God, that sounds
it's weird.
Weird as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. No, I'll have to. I can't imagine that. That's really my brain's going like wild now, trying to picture it.
So everyone's characteristics are just really exaggerated because they're just cartoons, you know.
Yeah.
But like Sam is such a bitch. But Sauron is literally just like this big black shadow, which is like a flaming face. It's like that kind of shit. So it's real basic, but it's like creepier because there's no humanity to it.
So yeah, obviously not having read the book, I'm sure I saw online somewhere that in the books it wasn't an eye. That was a decision.
Oh, okay.
I don't have anything to back it up other than
I mean, I don't
what
know.
I've seen on some guy explaining that actually in the books it wasn't ever specified that that Sauron's current state is an eye, and that was something Peter Jackson and the team created. I thought that was really interesting. Their interpretation of it.
We nailed it. It was good.
I was gonna say it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I was really good. Yeah.
I would love to get Lord of the Rings tattoo at some point.
What was when I saw someone's entire chest? It was the two towers here, and then you had all the different beasts, just their heads. So you had like a Balrog through to the
fucking
fell
hell.
beast, and then I don't think it was a troll. There was something else over here. I like the idea of a Balrog. I think that'd be cool.
See, I want a Dark Souls game of Lord of the Rings.
Oh man.
Like, because they did. Did you ever play like Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War?
Fucking hated that game.
That's the thing. I
can't stand it.
It was like Assassin's Creed, but in the
it was just shit though, because you got the shit handed to you. No matter what setting you did, they just beat the shit out of you, and you're like, "What's the premise? Is so dumb." You're like, I'm a ranger who lost my family because I'm this weird bastion. An elf ghost is here. He's gonna help me out.
Celebrimbor.
Yeah.
To ring a bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and also you're in the middle of fucking Mordor by yourself. And you're like, what?
So you're just gonna go raid all these camps by yourself.
Yeah.
In the middle of Mordor.
And there's wargs, there's orc chieftains, there's Uruk-hai.
And you fight Sauron at the end, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure
like,
I remember that. It was a fucking quick time event.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is going on? But they did a second one.
They did that. That was awful.
And then Sauron is like an elf, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, fine.
That game it was, but they put microtransactions into it. So
Did they?
you know how that the one cool defining factor of that game series was the I can't think of the name, but like the control system. You know how you could like take over orcs and like make them the army system, right?
Yeah, you can build
and
them
then
up.
they'd
Yeah.
fight within themselves for different rankings, and then potentially turn against you.
Yeah.
And the whole idea was you attack like a camp and say you got like a war chief, you would take you control them. That was literally the gameplay mechanics. They then in the second game, which I think was Shadow of War, they sold you like you could buy orcs for your army rather than just fucking play the game.
Oh my god, that's so lazy.
So like the one mechanic that made the game actually worth playing,
Yeah.
they were like, oh, just pay for it.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Just pay for it.
No.
Don't pay to not. So buy the game. That's what makes me laugh with some of these transactions. They're time savers. You pay 60 quid for the game.
Yep.
And then keep funneling about tenner every week or a couple of days just to not actually play the game how it's supposed to be played.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to make the actual gameplay experience shit.
Yep.
To sell you that.
Yep. Well, I can't remember what I was doing. Like, I started playing the game, and then I was like, I borrowed it off a mate, and I was like, this is shit. I gave it back, and then I was like, maybe I was just doing it wrong. So I started watching like gameplay footage on YouTube, and I'm like, no, it's just
I was doing it bang on
because
right.
the sheer range of what you can do is so small, but it's so fucking repetitive. I'm like, all these videos are the same. It's like when you watch them like Conquer a Citadel, you're like, this is so dull. You're like, oh my god, these are one of and what I don't like about it as well is like when you've got to do like a death blow or something on someone, and there's a whole speech by them as they die, like you're ready to cut their head off, and they go,
the camera pans
and it pans out, and then they're like,
they're just suddenly walking along. You fucking human.
yeah, or they're like, so the Dark Lord in his ascension will crush the world, and the world will never know a darkness, no sunlight however, because darkness will cover the land for millennia, and orcs will rise forever and become infinite ranks and legions, and then dead. And you're like, how could he do a 30-second speech? I'm about to cut his fucking head off, and then the camera stops. I'm like, no, I hate this game.
So it's. Have you ever played God of War? Like the
most recent one or the originals?
The most recent one.
No, I've done gameplay though.
So I think a friend of mine who I will message after this, I will lend you my PS4 because I don't play it.
Oh wow! Wow, you heard it here. Wow, all right, man.
I love you. I will lend you my PS4.
Love you too, mate.
Oh baby, can I get a hiya?
Hiya!
Oh, Papa
Oh,
bless.
mate.
Yeah,
oh,
so,
fuck's sake. You've done it as well.
So I will lend you my PS4. You will fucking love God of War.
All right.
Like, it's all set in, like, you've seen
Nordic,
gameplay,
yeah.
so you know all about it.
Yeah.
That game knows how to do like I think the whole game is just one shot, minus loading screens. But like there is no, like I think their intention was literally it would be like a film, like it's just one camera throughout the entire thing, and it is fucking done superbly. You don't get any of that bullshit.
Cool.
We're about to give the final kind of death blow.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, you get some monologue.
Yeah, fucking speech.
But it's just the way the camera's literally going in. You've just pressed, I don't know, like, is it B?
Yeah, it must be, yeah.
Must be on Xbox.
Yeah.
B.
Yeah.
So you press that, you're spamming it, ready to blow this fucking guy's head in.
Yeah.
And then the camera just pans out, and then suddenly you're on the other fucking side, or...
Yeah, literally,
it makes no sense.
It's
the worst thing in games like that where you can chop off limbs, and then suddenly in the cutscene, they've got all their arms back. And
yeah. I did it once. I got a mod because Skyrim is quite good because they do it like, say you've got 10 enemies, you kill them all, and then the final one is a death blow. You get like a cut screen or whatever, and you're like as you spin around, cut their head off, or kick them, cut their head off, whatever. Where like I got a mod where I accidentally added it where it does it to every kill. So you're there for ages, just there like, oh man.
You see an enemy of like a group of 5 people and think, fuck this.
You're like, it's going to take 20 minutes.
Skyrim's one of those games that I've got it on VR.
Oh.
But I played 5 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't smooth. You couldn't free roam. So I mean, to a degree you could, but you'd have to, even with turning, you had to click a button to turn, and they do that so it doesn't make you feel motion sick. But for me, it's more jarring, and I feel sick.
That sounds clunky.
That.
Yeah.
But even so, having never played Skyrim, I was looking forward, and of course, you see all the memes about how glitchy and broken it is, and it's part of its charm. But you start in the cart, and instantly I'm underneath the cart.
Oh no!
And of course, then the cart like shoots off and smacks into a tree, and I felt so sick just the starting scene. And then they go to like chop your head off or something.
Yeah.
And then I think I got out of the cave.
Yeah,
but it was quite clunky on VR.
So your first exposure to it was VR.
Yeah,
Oh,
my only one. And
bad move.
Like I know it's glitchy, but Jesus Christ, like doing that in VR, I almost threw up.
Well, that's a real bad move. Yeah, because the game itself is fucking amazing. But yeah, if you've only ever done it on VR, that's a real. Well, because also, well, yeah, and also, the game is you're supposed to hunt and kill dragons.
Fuck that in there.
If fucking VR, you're like, oh shit, this fucking Leviathan comes out of nowhere, it's breathing fire over you. You're like,
Well, the thing is, it would be great if you could move about, but you'd be like, oh, one sec, that one's to turn left, and then you don't just turn. It's like you turn like that, so the screen goes black, and it was so clunky.
Oh, that's upsetting.
It's shit. Like a lot of the VR games, I typically only get my VR out at Christmas, for like Beat Saber. Have you ever played Beat Saber?
Yeah, I know but I know what it is.
Oh man,
yeah.
We've got to have some beers and Beat Saber.
All right,
unreal.
You want a beer and beat? Yeah,
I want a beer.
Want a beat?
And I want you to beat my saber. My man.
That's how you do it.
Smooth as fuck.
Yeah, man. You know what? Yeah, people at home, everyone's just fanning themselves now. They're like, oh, the heat.
So you got to give them a good tease to keep them weak at the knees.
Yeah, mate. That's the whole point of this. This is now a verbal porn. Imagine that. Imagine if you. I'm sure there are people that do this though. If they just sit opposite each other and just talk to each other like that, you know,
well,
and they just never actually touch each other. That'd be weird. It's not even like when couples like masturbate opposite each other, because you're like fine because you actually get pleasure, but just like this, like hands like that, just like yeah. You like that, don't you?
just dead in the eye.
Yeah.
Just dead in the eye. Yeah.
And you can't.
Nothing's done about it.
No change in expression either. You're just like, you filthy slut. I think I just do this. I just end up laughing. You know, I'm like, I can't take this seriously. And they're like,
what if you came out with some pure filth?
And they go like bright red, and they're like, I can't change my face.
But like, I would want to come out with something just purely disgusting because I'd find it funny.
Yeah.
And then if they just don't respond, then you're like, oh shit.
No, but as in it's not like a first date. Jesus Christ. No, as in like you're in your relationship. That would
be interesting.
You're in your relationship. You've already established what you guys do or don't like, and it's the kind of thing you would normally say like in the throes of passion, but you're just not doing anything about it. You're just saying you're deadpan.
I would like to rim you later.
Yes, call me daddy. We're gonna take what you just said, by the way. I'm gonna take it out of context and just put it onto my teaser video for this podcast.
Can I get a? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You make me giggle like a little schoolgirl.
Oh mate. Oh no, you would titter in that case.
Oh, it's titillating with me.
Titterly. That's a good word, isn't it? Titter.
Oh, titter.
Titter.
Oh, it's. I don't know where to go from there. That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that would make a very interesting first date. What would be Have you had a fucking weird date? Because I was telling you about a date I went on.
It's alright. You can tell the world because we're not going to name her. I actually have never been
Simon.
on. I've never been. Yeah, Simon. I've actually never been on a date.
Okay.
As in, I've been It's either gone like straight in, or it's been like I've been friends with them beforehand. So I've never like met anyone and been like, oh hey, can we go have a drink? Or
sure.
like I've never used a dating app, the same sort of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I've never actually had a first date. I've had dates in relationships.
Yeah.
But...
Right. Okay. I can't work out if you're missing a lot. Probably not, to be honest.
I'm probably missing.
When they're good, they're good. But
the event itself, I'm probably not missing, but I'm probably missing the learning experience from it.
Yeah, but see, you're. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, so I mean, you're already learning about them because you've known them prior to the first time you go for a drink or rock climbing or something, right? So.
Oh, rock climbing is a sick first day. I like that.
That would be. That'd be a fucking sick.
Banging. I like that. Unless they're like, I don't like rock climbing. You're like, see ya.
I was gonna say it's a good way to fucking get rid of the separate the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fucking awesome, actually.
Do you say weak from the chaff or wheat? Okay, I was gonna say because I called it weak from chaff like the other day, and I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right.
Oh, okay. It was weird admitting that. I always thought it was tongue in cheek, not tongue in cheek.
Oh right, yeah, fair enough.
Probably some other weird ones that I've always said wrong. Oh yeah, okay. Here's one. My English vocabulary is not great, so I try to throw in some fun words from time to time. Quite a Matt Berry kind of inspired approach.
Good name drop. Well done, sir. Very good. Very good. Go on. Very good.
Word. I just hit puberty as well.
Welcome.
Call me daddy. Right. The word admirable. Do you pronounce it admirable or admirable? Because I don't know, and every time I say it,
I think I say admirable.
I think that's what I try and say, but every time I go to say it, it's one of those words that I always then question myself and end up tripping up on both. Hence, like I've just done there.
Treat it like saying admiral,
like the car insurance, multi-car,
or the
admiral,
navy rank.
We'll go for the car insurance.
Yeah,
mine's up for renewal soon.
Think of it like admiral. Is admiral any good? Why am I asking? I fucking use it. What am I saying?
Is it any good? I don't even know. Ensley, I think I'm with.
Oh, right.
They're all right.
Yeah.
They're all shit, aren't they? They're
steal your fucking money.
Steal your money, and then if you do have to put in a claim, they probably do what they can to wheedle out of it.
Oh, mate. Fucking, what happened once when someone totaled my car.
Oh, shit.
It's with the... It's not a no claims bonus, it's the excess? Is the excess?
Yeah, because you've got voluntary and...
Like your excess is X amount or whatever. They were like... Because it was like a 2000 Clio, they were like, we're just going to get rid of the car because it's not worth fixing it. We'll give you some money. I went, all right. And they were like, your excess is 250. Therefore, you get like, because it's bad. The value of the car's like 500 quid. Your excess is 250. Therefore, you get 250. I'm like,
great.
Thanks.
Great. So now I can buy a shit car for 250.
So now I can Now I can buy half a moped. Like, thanks.
That's fucking shit.
It was ages ago. So, but I was just at the time. I was like, cool.
See, you'd rather them just be like, tell you what, keep the car. Here's a 250 contribution towards it getting fixed, and then it's down to you. I personally would probably go for that.
Because what had happened was the car was parked on the road, and I came out to look at it in a legitimate parking space. It was just on the road in Wokingham. Came out, and the front of it was hanging off because someone had driven into it and just driven off. Like, there wasn't a note. There wasn't nothing.
Well, that shocked me. I'm sure they would have left a note.
Yeah, clearly. But I didn't like.
Hell.
Yeah, so like the whole front bumper and like the front bonnet was just like on the floor. I was like, huh. Okay. So looking at it now,
right? Okay.
I think I was just kind of like. I wasn't really in shock. I was just kind of like, okay, I've never done this before. I guess I've got to go buy the book and just call insurance or whatever.
Yeah.
Looking at it now, I probably, because I found the picture of it, I was like, I probably could have given that to a mate of mine who's a mechanic, and he probably could have made it work. But I just, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those things. It's like theory and practice are very different things.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's easy for me to say. So one of the cars I had, I just got, and within the first week of owning the car, in a car park, someone had basically taken the back off it.
Shit.
No note, nothing, and
Fuck.
it was at a gym I went to at the time, and of course their CCTV miraculously doesn't record, and you're like, well, this is fucking useful.
Yeah.
You know, that was absolutely no use. So I think I was going to go through my insurance, but I ended up paying for it privately, but took it back to the dealer. I think that was it. I was just in shock, and because it was on a PCP at the time, I thought, like, you know, I just panicked and was like, well, I'll just take it. You know, I'm not going through insurance because then that will affect everything. Of course, at the time, you're 18, 17, so you're paying through the nose anyway for insurance.
Yep.
So I went straight back to the dealer rather than actually just going to, I don't know, like, really in reality, if I just took it to any mechanic or something, or even like Halfords, I would have saved loads, but it was fucking expensive to get it done.
Yep.
I think that's the thing in theory. It's like, I know with my car, if I take it to Audi, I'll get ripped off. But in the spur of the moment, you're like, oh, I'll take it to them because I know they'll do a good job. And it's really weird.
If you
it's a really poor example, I realise. Waffle, but
unfortunately, I've got a mate who works at Audi, so we'll have a chat later.
I was going to say, it's remember, so recently, I had to, I can't remember if I had it done when I last spoke to you, but I had to get like my cam belt replaced, and then all 4 tyres as well. So that went straight on the old Credito cardy. Yeah,
tyres for an Audi. For you got A5?
4.
A4. Oof.
Basically, it cost me about near enough $2,000 just to get all the tyres and the cam belt done.
Fuck me.
So that was one of those. I was like, it goes on the old Credito.
Yep. That's what it's for.
Whereas I remember telling someone that, and they're going, "Oh no, that shouldn't have cost you more than like £500 all in." They're scratching my head, going, "In theory, it makes sense, but in practice, you're like, oh, well, they'll do a good job, my car."
Yeah,
so will Halfords.
I was
probably.
I was out for a walk with a friend of mine the other day, and they because they were like, "Oh, my car's getting its MOT right now." The garage calls them up, and they were like, I could hear what the garage was saying, and the garage was like, "Oh, this needs doing, that needs doing. It'll cost you about £500 or whatever." And I was like, "Don't say anything yet. Say you'll get back to them later." And they were like, "Okay." So they hung up. I was like, "Look, I've got a few mates who are mechanics. They can easily get all that done for you for £130. And they were like, all right. And so they fucking spoke to my mate, and yeah, they got it done for 125 or something. I was like, as opposed to £500. I was like, these fucking garages, mate. No, I get it, because that's how they make their money. But I'm like, if you know people in the industry who can get it for trade prices, 100%. They don't care. They just want to, they'll do it for how much it costs them.
Yeah.
Plus like a 6-pack.
Yeah.
Easy. No, they don't give a shit.
Makes complete sense. So it's like, I think you're right. In any industry, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous, the markup on some things. And for people like me that know fuck all about cars, and I just jump straight. It's just like, oh, well, I guess I have to, so I'll get it done. And you're kind of crying your way as you're typing in your PIN number, going, so what do you do? I'm a student. £2,000, please.
Exactly. Well, mate, and I that's why I had to stop. That's why I couldn't be an estate agent anymore, because I was like, I can't do this.
What, like morally, or
it was just hard. It was just real hard. Like, it's that sort of thing where just like some of these things shouldn't. And it's changed now, because they've changed all the structuring of how estate agents charge their money. But I was like, I can't. It's hard with this sort of shit. I was like, I can't do this sort of stuff, because it's some of it just doesn't make any sense. And it's not even that. It's equally looking at some people. It's like, I guess I was really like sympathetic, because like I if I see people like hurting or in distress or whatever.
Yeah.
I try to help people, whereas like obviously because it's I take back my previous statement. That part of it is just part of the business, but because it's something that is, it's not like selling someone a suit. It's a different thing, because that's just an item.
Yeah, sure.
Is this where they're going to live? Is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And so it's like how seeing how emotional people were about things, because some of them, it wasn't even necessarily what I was doing. I was just witnessing their lives. Because if I'd meet people, I'd go around these houses and I'd talk to them, I'd find out their situation. And some people's situations are so fucking harrowing. and you just hear about why they're moving, what's going on. Like I had one woman who was getting a divorce from her husband. It wasn't a fucking good divorce, so I had to be texting this woman because she couldn't have her phone going off.
Oh.
And I managed to find a place for her, but it was just, she was so stressed, she was so upset and so fucking scared.
Yeah,
I managed to like get her out of her house.
Okay.
Not as in like I fucking like saved her or anything, but I was just like, she's just looking for a place to go, but she has to do everything like on the download. Like she had to like hide her.
Oh, that's
she had to put her phone like on mute. She's like, she couldn't take calls. She had to block numbers. She had to go on ghost mode when she was searching for shit because otherwise he'd find out.
Jesus Christ!
I know it's terrifying. I was really like, I was like, fuck. And it was me and this like some trainee who I was with on the day, and we were both there like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, it was brilliant. She got it and she managed to do it. And I was like, that's amazing. But it just took too much of a toll on me just to see that why people are moving.
Yeah, I
was
can
like,
imagine.
Fuck.
That's what I felt like with the law firm.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
exactly,
criminal
mate.
law firm, and you're literally like, if it made you feel fucked up, and you're literally kind of all you're doing really is setting up their case, making sure they're fair trials and paperwork and collecting evidence and advising them. That was good fun. But on some of it, like, it was so fucked up. Like, you go for a meeting. I remember going to this one place in Reading actually. Couldn't get hold of this woman for fucking ages. We met up and she didn't turn up to the court, so I arranged to go meet her by a park. And then right at the end of it, she went, "Have you got any change? I need the bus." And you just see her like scratching her arm, and it's like, having read through her papers, I know that money's not going on the bus.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, and she's there like grovelling, and you're there. It's so, you know, I remember that really kind of fucked me up.
Yeah, that's fucked
watching
up,
that
man.
going like, and it's mad that I go home to a nice home at night, whereas she's literally kind of sleeping across different places for multiple reasons, and one of them being to just have a place to sleep. And you're there going, it's just so fucked.
Yeah, no,
Jobs like that,
that's exactly
take
the
my hat
same.
off to people that do it day in, day out and keep sane.
Well, it's exactly the same thing. What that sentiment you said is exactly the same as that. I get to go home to a specific house because the plethora of houses I've seen, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Obviously, some are palaces, and and some are just like, how is this legal? But and it's sad, but the philosophy of that estate agents have is someone will take it, and it's right. They're absolutely right. It doesn't matter what it is.
You're right.
But provided it's structurally sound, someone will take it. It's crazy.
No, it is. It's mad. You know, we see those posts on like Lab Bible will often do it about like really, really expensively shit houses in like London.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you look at them going, I cannot believe there is a cunt out there actually charging like 1,500 quid for essentially like a fucking shoebox.
Mm-hmm.
But there will be someone that does it.
Someone will take it.
Which is, I don't know. It's just weird.
I guess it's a different value system. Like, there's some people who, you know, it's like house shares. House shares were always weird to do. Like to go on viewings with them, and for people who want to have one. And some will be, I'm a student, or, you know, I'm just here for work. I'm just traveling for X amount of time. I've got a work visa. You're like, fine. Or some will be like, oh, I work for, you know, Wipro or Vodafone or something, and my family live in India. And you're like, okay, because they're like, I just want something that's the cheapest as possible.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't give a shit about what it is because one way's gonna go home. And I was like, all right,
fine.
Yeah, fair enough. It's your values.
I think that's the thing. It's like your job isn't to judge, criticize. It's purely to facilitate. And you know that's what mine was, and that's what most of the time it was. Like, I'd say on the whole, it was relatively easy to just kind of be the facilitator in this. But then it was those times where it's really hard not to draw your own kind of personal views and experiences. Like, I'd look at a shithole and some guy in a really bad situation, and I'd want to like do what I can to help him, knowing there's nothing I can do. And like that guy then working like say for Vodafone. To me, I'd be like, well, you want a place to like call home, like, you know, like, but it just, I don't know, waffling, rambling, but
welcome. Welcome, first of all, to your home, and second of all, welcome to the show.
It's weird. So with a lot of my uni stuff, it is, but you know, you have to record yourself, not only playing, but you know, maybe say like discussing themes and like video essays, as well as watching back little parts of our podcasts. So I've started to kind of watch and analyze traits that I have, and it's really weird watching how I process things.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed I seem to go off in many different tangents, which is potentially brilliant fun.
Mate, it gives me endless content. It's great. We did 3 hours last time I was here, so
We did. It's but yeah, it's really weird kind of watching it back and watching yourself formulate it. I think like there was a point I made on our last one.
Yep.
That someone brought up and was like, "Oh, that's." I think I was talking about. Think it was if you have a hobby basically, and someone doesn't have a hobby, I personally don't think YouTube would be able to get along very well. Like if I'm spending money on say like sports gear and they just do nothing. But I think the way like, you know, it's interesting kind of seeing me try and work out how to say it and then it comes across so wrong. You know, because I think I basically said like if you're not into like if one person's sport and the other's not, then you won't get on. If you're one's into music, the other's not, you won't get on. And it's really interesting kind of watching back going, I can see these kind of traits that I'll start formulating and kind of try and word vomit and get it out as quickly as possible. Once again, I've kind of done that because I have no idea really how I got onto that, but
no,
it's
good,
interesting.
Mate.
Yeah. So that wasn't the point I was trying to make, I guess.
Doesn't matter. You're just talking your brain out. I like it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I think that's it. I just find it really strange to watch yourself think, and like you can see it. I've noticed it watching myself. I can see my brain going kind of all over the shot.
Yeah.
And then to kind of try and get to a conclusion. It's a very cack-handed way of getting there, but sometimes you get there in the end. Other times not.
Well, there's one thing I wanted to say about what you were saying with your stuff when you wanted to, like you had your own views and all personal stuff for when you see someone's case or whatever.
Yeah.
There was it was a director at a company. He was an absolute cunt, but there was one thing he said that was I thought really stuck with me. I thought it was awesome advice. He was saying that in this business, if you have an opinion, go home. Like I don't want anyone working here who has an opinion on individual like properties. I went, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah, I was like, that's a really fucking wise thing to say. But it's exactly the same thing for you. It's like if you have an opinion on the case, and you're allowed to affect your judgment, that's a big problem.
Massively. It's you know, I guess that's the thing. It's like if I'm coming to you, I want you to literally facilitate me getting me a place. I don't want your opinion on why it'd be good or shit or And I guess that it's like if you're arrested, you don't want. Well, it's bizarre. They'd want to be able to. A lot of them that were lying, they thought if you were convinced, then they were fine. Then they had a good case. Whereas of course we were never to cast our judgment. All we could do was advise what one should do and how you know likely it would be believed based on the evidence as opposed to a thought. And yeah, the minute you kind of let. That's what I always found hard is the minute then I would allow like a bit of my own kind of thoughts to come through. Not even that I necessarily act on them. But yeah, like that case, that's when I found it really kind of hard. It's suddenly everything just becomes a bit more human. And less like a business or a job or a service. And it's really, really weird. I think that's why I do love being around like doing music and production. It's nice because you need an opinion and it's nice to be able to have it, and at times you need to shut your mouth and just it's great, and that's also fine, but it's nice being able to kind of be in that sort of industry where you do get to actually kind of bring your own experience and thought into it. I think that's what I like in jobs.
Yeah,
in a positive way. I can, like, if you had to do that in a law thing, fuck that.
I don't think you could. I'd have to.
That'd be fucking dodgy if you did.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be it's what was it? It's conflict of interest.
No, that's it.
Yeah, or just like ethically wrong, I suppose.
Both, really.
Yeah,
they're kind of like intertwined. It's if they ever kind of admitted some guilt, or you thought that they had accidentally admitted something to you, you had to be like, you've got to change solicitors.
Yeah, I can't carry on. Yeah,
which was always. I've never had to do that actually.
Because for the the stuff were you on, were you like defending or prosecuting? Okay.
So it was.
Oof.
We'd meet them when they got arrested at the police station, listen to them, like go through the police interview, and then you essentially then kind of go from there. From once they indicate their plea, if it's guilty or not guilty. Mostly then if it went not guilty, it'd go through to trial. So then it was basically I'd get all the evidence papers sent to me, I'd go through it, send it across to everybody else, like the barrister, go see them in prison, take their stance or their account on everything, and kind of not tell them if it's good or not, but purely to facilitate a fair trial, that they're getting because they can't go into like a Crown Court and defend themselves. They have to have a barrister do it, and they typically don't speak directly to the barrister. It's a really weird way the British
the defendant doesn't.
They do at court when they meet each other, or like in a meeting, but they're not contacting each other, emailing. I guess to prevent kind of any collusion or clouded judgment or anything like that. It's very much you tell. So the defendant would, let's say, like they'd been accused of like shoplifting, right? They'd be arrested for it. The police would have evidence on why they've arrested this person for shoplifting. I would then say to them, look, this is what they've told me at the police station. What's your account of what happened? And then if by then saying that, they then basically say like, oh, well, I walked out the shop with it, but then realised, so that's when I went and handed myself back in. I'd be like, well, we need to tell this, you need to explain this, or I'd advise them, or if they, had nothing, I would just say it might be better to kind of say no comment, as, they haven't said what they have on you, and you don't know what you thought of. It's very, very, very kind of context specific. And then it'd be the same, like, then they've said not guilty, it's going through to a trial, and suddenly they release CCTV, which clearly shows him looking around, looking dodgy, shoving something down his trousers, and then whistling on his way out the shop. Wouldn't go to Crown Court for that, but yeah, then I would like present it to them and be like, this is what they've got on you, not are you guilty or not, but it'd be like, how would you respond to it, so on, and then basically take all that and then pass it between, and then go sit with them at the trial. And in many cases, kind of wave goodbye as they then go off to prison.
Wow.
So yeah, that was. I did enjoy it, but I think being in that, it just fucked in my head, and I thought I need to get out of this.
Was it? Again, I don't have to ask if you don't want to. But was it mostly sort of like minor crimes, or were they pretty serious ones?
So they had me working for the. So there was literally 3 of us, me and the 2 directors. So they basically got me in charge of the Crown Court stuff. So that was with everything from like rapists. We had attempted murder, drug dealing.
You had to defend rapists.
Well, so this, yeah. So that's a really interesting point, because that was the first case I ever had, and that's changed my way of thinking ever since.
Go on.
So my point exactly. Our job was never to cast the judgment; it was only to facilitate a fair trial.
Gee,
so
sorry, go on.
No, not at all, because this is exactly the same reaction I had. That when I went in, it was I was doing music teaching beforehand in the school I was at, got shut down or bought out, and it all just went to shit. So I thought, I have no fucking clue what I'm going to do. Saw this place was doing like some apprenticeship in law, and was like, I'll try and do a proper career and see what happens there. So that's how I got into it. So got in, and then on my first week, they went, right, we're going to start you off with a case basically, and we'll kind of coach you through it. So but just to show you kind of what's going on, but you're essentially be running it from. They gave me way too much kind of power. Really, I shouldn't have been doing more than just kind of transferring emails and filing. But it was brilliant experience, but not for the pay. I digress. So, without going into like many details, because it's a bit shady on what you can and can't. I never quite know what one can say.
Oh, of course.
Not that listen, but
of course, yeah.
In a nutshell, they went, right, he's up for a multiple number of rapes.
Jesus.
And, assaults of varying degrees. So my first reaction was fucking cunt. Like, I fucking hope you rot in prison. Which is, I think it's very interesting that was my first stance, because that's really bad, because instantly, without knowing anything about the case, I felt disgusted, which I understand because of the matter. But before even knowing this guy's name, I made up in my mind, well, you must be guilty. Which, that was really hard to, I had no information on it, nothing whatsoever at all at this moment. I was just told, I went, oh, what crime's he facing? And they said that, and that was my first thing going, do you know what, I'm going to be, I'll be happy that this guy's going to prison. I'm doing the right job. And then they're kind of explaining stuff. And I said to them, I'm finding this really difficult because he's got to be guilty. And they went, it's not for you to decide that. I remember being like, oh, okay. And you're reading through all the case papers, and there's fucking loads. And because there are on matters like that, lots and lots of interviews to watch, accounts. It's very like troubling to watch.
Jesus.
People talk about. But like I said, mine was basically, here's what they've got, what they're saying they've got against you. What's your account on it? Because you're saying not guilty, so you need a fair trial. And it was absolutely fascinating because it basically went on for months, because these, you know, trials building up to the trial is usually about kind of 6-7 months. So you're getting new evidence almost, you know, once every month or so, and then needing clarification and stuff if stuff doesn't add up. And it was going through it that actually the more I looked at the evidence, and then I was having to go through thousands of texts, reading some pure filth actually. It didn't add up. Like, for me, it didn't add up that I thought the guy was a cunt. Like, I don't, and he was, without getting to the punchline, he was a cunt, but I couldn't see that for me, like, just putting it in a nutshell, I couldn't see that he was a rapist. Okay. Which isn't fair for me to make that judgment anyway. Right. It's not nearly as black and white as that. But based on the evidence, it was, because there were so many of, like, these very small, I don't know, it just didn't add up, basically, is what I'm saying with the evidence. And there was a broken bone, which evidence added up, you know, for a separate offence. Evidence added up for that. It was very fucking crystal clear. Yeah. And interestingly, that was the only thing he was very, like, he couldn't give a shit about. So when he would give his accounts on, you know, what's your response? What's your defence? What are you going to say about this at your trial? He couldn't give a shit about the rapes. He was like, well, I didn't do it. I'm kind of scratching my head going, yeah, but, you know, these are incredibly serious. He's like, yeah, no, I understand that, but I didn't do it. I'm all these things going through my head, and I'm there going, do you know what? He really might not have done it. And that was my gut reaction. So my job wasn't to then prove his, you know, my job isn't to prove anything. It's purely that's for him to do. Yeah, you got to show the evidence. Exactly. And it was even on the day of the trial, he wasn't that fussed about that side of it. He was just like, he was like mortified that he'd been accused of it, but didn't have any real defence to put forward other than, it's not true, I didn't do it. And it was only, to be honest, that, you know, new evidence often comes in on the day of the first trial. So I went, you know, me and the barrister were like, no, we need a day to go through this, to delay it by a day. And it was going through there, I noticed like a number wasn't right. Because I've been going through so many texts, you end up learning, you know, people's numbers very quickly. I'm there going, no, something's not adding up. Like, something's really not right with this new evidence that basically was, you know, that he had started, you know, because then suddenly you get an order against you as part of, like, your probation, you know, not to contact, and then suddenly he was sending all these kind of harassing and abusive texts. They're going, it's not him. Like, it's weird to say that, and you go on a hunch, because I don't know, if you read through like 5,000 messages someone sent, you get a good idea of how they text. So they go, no, it's not him. It's not. And the numbers didn't add up. And they basically then did a whole, where they track where the numbers are coming from. And basically this woman had bought a phone and was messaging herself posing as him. Fuck. To which they quizzed her about, the barrister quizzed about, and openly admitted that basically he hadn't done it. He had broken her arm, but he was a cunt and cheated on her, and she wanted out to ruin his life. Wow. So he, you know, so that was punished on what he had done. But
what, a GBH or whatever?
Yeah, there I can't remember which one exactly, because there are a couple of ABH and GBH, and some were dropped. Some weren't. Right. Yep. But yeah, he was acquitted of every rape. And to me, I went, Christ, like, actually, my first judgment was, you're a scumbag. But upon getting all the evidence, and it's not always as black and white as that. It's so tricky.
Yeah, especially with that, because it's so, unless you're unless there's someone fucking watching it happen, or there's CCTV pointing at it while it's happening with sound. How the fuck do you prove that? How the hell do you prove that shit?
One person's word against another.
Exactly.
It's just terrifying.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it didn't happen to me, but I know someone it did happen to, and I know how when they took it through police system, I know how fucking hard and how fucking harrowing it is. To try and prove that this happened to you, when all they've got to say is, no, it didn't happen, and you're like, okay, now what?
Well, that's it.
Now what happens?
And then you'd be dragged through the trauma of having to go
You've
through
got
a trial,
or like
and then relive it again.
Police testimony, police video evidence of your testimony,
and then from potentially, quite likely, to stand there and go, no.
Yeah, but well, in this case, that's what happened. Yeah, they got away with it. Yeah,
which is it's disgusting. But that made me change. That really changed me a lot. My viewpoint on life. So I try not to be. I'm judgmental. Like, of course I am. You naturally always kind of form an opinion of someone or something before you've experienced it properly.
Yep.
But I'm a lot more kind of open-minded to, if someone says something or thinks a certain way, or I don't know, it's just the way they are or something. It's like I won't form a judgment until I've kind of seen the context and evidence around it. At least I do my best to live like that. I'm not perfect by any means, but yeah, that was really fascinating. That I will let people have the chance to explain themselves and like what they think, and kind of stitch it up. So the classic one would be like, oh, do you know this guy? Oh yeah, he's a fucking cunt. Like, it's so easy to then go in and be like, oh yeah, I see what you mean, he is a fucking cunt, and it's fine to think he's a fucking cunt. Whereas I'll make an effort to make sure he's proved himself to be a fucking cunt to me, rather than me just having that preconceived idea.
Yeah, you don't have to say anything.
It's a lot harder to do. Once again, theory and practice, they're so perfectly aligned together, yet out of sync at the same time. I don't know, but yeah, so that was really interesting for me, to kind of watch the whole experience. And it's crazy, not being funny, it was a very unusual case, like, and I think especially of that topic and matter, every case is unique. So like, it's not like they all pan out in the same way and then go through the same, it's so difficult. But it was really interesting seeing in that case how my initial reaction, like, I still came away thinking he's a cunt, but for very different reasons from my initial one. And that's when I went, Jesus, actually, I do judge things way too quickly. So that was a huge eye opener for me. And it was just weird, like fucking weird. Of course, then there's some like hilarious stories of like,
go
on. I will manipulate facts because it's safer to do so.
Okay, cool.
Basically, let's say this guy was caught with a copious amount of drugs in his car.
Yep.
He was, all the signs pointing, looking very dodgy. Reports of like people think there's a drug dealing going on. So basically, we're called, police turned up, looked a bit suspicious, had reason to stop him, asking a few questions, a bit shady about his vehicle. So they searched it and, surprise, surprise, find a load of drugs. A lot, not, by no means personal amounts, like a fucking lot. This is the part I'm going to find difficult, not literally saying his defense, because it is so unique.
Okay.
So he ran a trial. Now, I left before the trial happened. Like, I left the job and started on my degree. But his defense that he was running, and once again, I'm not to judge, I can only ever advise on like sentences, likely outcomes, why it would be incoherent with the evidence that the police have, and so on and so on. So his defense was essentially, to change it up slightly, he just happened to be hanging out by himself, just driving about, and he just happened to see this bag hanging up over a tree.
Okay.
And he thought there might be something inside of it that would improve his life massively, that one could purchase things with. Okay. So he didn't look inside, but took the bag and thought, never know. No idea what's in there. I'll pop it under my seat and lock the car and just hang about here for a bit longer, just in case it brings me good fortune. And then the police miraculously turned up. And it was there was but
interesting defense.
But when like fingerprints were then found of his over every single packet, they were found stashed from that same batch, because they run tests like that on the purities all across his car and in his own personal pockets.
Okay.
When he basically thought, oh, if there's a load of money in the bag, I'll be rich.
Yeah.
And that was his defense. And of course, I can't turn around and say you're a fucking moron. It's so fucking obvious that's not the case. And considering he had previous offences for that, so it doesn't, it probably won't stack up too well. Well, that's the truth.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
No, that is the truth. Okay. And and it's when he said, so you believe it's the truth? And I said, you've told me it's the truth. If that's the defence you're running, I'm just advising. And the look of relief on his face was like, oh my God, he believes me. He was like, if I convince him, then I've convinced the judge. And it's like, no.
Not how this works, mate.
It's not down to the judge really either. It's down to the people you...
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it was... I don't know, there was some... That's one that, like, I've got many stories I'd love to say over, like, some beers. Because I never quite know. I always find it interesting seeing the little I've seen of people discussing legal matters on... Some people go almost literally to the T, but they just change the name and it's fine.
Yeah.
Others will literally just make up entire kind of stories. And it's really tricky. I don't actually know, like, what I could or couldn't say because of client confidentiality. It's really tricky.
Yeah, I mean, names are obviously a big no-no, but I wonder... I guess if the circumstances are so unique, then maybe there's a way for people to find the case.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like the more vague you are, the easier it is to talk about. It's why, like that first example.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, some of the, I think it was just the shit people would come out with, and it would be like, oh, I tripped, but you literally see like you battering the shit out of this person outside of a nightclub. I tripped. Right, and that's your defense. Yeah, I tripped. Right, so you just advise them, right? Well, these are the sentences that are likely if you're found guilty. I won't be found guilty because I tripped.
Yeah.
We'll just watch the CCTV. No, don't need to.
Yeah.
You just see some guy, like, it's awful, like the classic one, but like nightclubs, you get people come out, just beat the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Horrible fight outside, rightly then get arrested. And yeah, it's when some of them, their responses would be, I tripped. And you're there going, fuck off, that's in between us, mate. Like, come on.
And equally, if you've got fucking CCTV, you're just like, what are you going to do?
I advise that you get a third off your sentence if you admit guilt and save the like unnecessary time.
I
tripped. Right, okay. Well, you are by law entitled to a fair trial. Enjoy your longer prison sentence.
Yeah, have fun, mate.
Cretin.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because if you do you get. Yeah, I mean, if you did beat someone up outside a club, do you get like immediate prison time, or is it like a fine? Or
so many factors in it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So if you were to, let's say, it's going to look terrible if I get the law wrong because it is quite fine. Me and you're in a club. We come out. I get shoved. So as you do it, you shove this guy, he falls over, cracks his head open.
Yeah.
You'd be arrested for GBH.
Yeah.
Of course, then there's two different types of GBH. So you've got GBH with intent, which is borderline and often changed or upgraded or downgraded depending on how much evidence there is to attempted murder. Or it's like unintentional GBH.
Yeah, so that would be unintentional. So I didn't intend to crack his head open. He just happened to fall over.
So from what I had seen is often with things like that, they would go under the section, I won't say the sections because I can't remember, one's 20, one's 18. I feel like 18 was the intent, but I'm probably wrong. It has been a few years. But yeah, so they would often charge with higher, and then based on if you plea less and giving evidence that you came out and it was acting in self-defense and it got out of hand, they would lower it because the sentences are significantly less between the two, based on that intention. That's why you can never ABH, you can never commit intentional ABH.
Aggravated?
It would be section 20.
No, is that what A stands for?
actual bodily harm and grievous bodily harm. So it's more like, so in theory, if I pushed you and you had a scratch, that'd be ABH.
Mm-hmm.
If I pushed you and you had a significant cut, that could be GBH.
Oh.
And then it also depends on, if I kick you, that would be classed as GBH, because your foot is classed as a weapon.
Okay.
As opposed to if I punched you, literally same injuries, that would be classed as ABH.
What?
So that was always the
A punch is not a weapon.
But ABH and GBH, you would get the same sentence for. If it wasn't intent, you could in terms of maximum sentence. So this is the thing, because there are two different types of GBH. So it's weird.
If it wasn't intentional for both of those, you get the same. But if it was intentional, they'd be different.
Yeah, so you can get up to life with intention, because it's essentially
on GBH.
Yeah,
not ABH.
Because it's, if you think about it, it's impossible. I'm getting.
I think we're confusing ourselves there.
So you can never intentionally, if you go to punch someone, like in an aggressive way, more than like if you went to punch me to give me a black eye because Bants, that would be different.
Because Bants,
mate.
I like how that's on the spectrum. Sweet, I can use that later. Go
on. Whereas in a nightclub situation, if you go to throw a punch at someone, you can never intend to only. Like, if you throw a punch at someone or you go to kick someone, you have an intention of causing harm to them.
Not necessarily grievous, but definitely
not necessarily
harm.
Grievous, but you can't. I think that's it. You can't accidentally cause.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look at this afterwards. I'm getting my words all.
We're morons, just to caveat that.
And I love it. But yeah, no, it's really interesting. Yeah, kind of cases like that. They're quite common, and often you'd get multiple offences thrown in there as well. So it was mad that you can literally, that I think that's the weird one with GBH, is when it came down to intent, that's where suddenly you would find yourself either kind of potentially, getting back to your original question, if you knock this guy, would you get a fine or not? There would be so many different factors within it. So if it showed that there was CCTV that this guy was going to attack me, and you acted out of self-defense, because you can have like a preemptive strike, which he hasn't hit you, but you can hit him first if you genuinely, the circumstances make you believe. But then it has to be within reasonable force. So using your foot is quite difficult to ever justify why using your foot would be reasonable force. Now, if you're pushed
using your fist would be reasonable.
Yeah, it would be reasonable. And then equally, the amount of punches you would throw. Like, 1
fine,
is understandable.
7, no.
7, no. And it's the same with the foot. It's like, if you were pushed back and you felt that he was potentially going to like stab you or lunge on you, that would be therefore. That was a beautiful. That would be a beautiful.
Give me some height, mate. Come on.
I'm in skinny jeans. I can't stretch that high.
What's your point? Go on. There you go. There you go. That's it. There we go. That's it. Open them up, mate. Open them up. There we go.
It's like the first time with a priest.
I'm learning so much about you, my friend.
It explains why I am the way I am.
Oh, mate. All those priests.
Mass will never be the same again. Probably. Why was I saying this? Yeah, so like if you were knocked over and you kicked someone, then you'd have a chance, because it's all down to what normal people would deem to be reasonable force, which always, I say, makes me laugh. It's awful, but you've become after like 2 years of it, you become quite desensitized to horrific acts, because I guess it's the same. There are some that will fuck you up, but like just stupid shit, which is awful. Like 2 people kicking the shit out of someone up. It was typically nightclub ones, but like. And then you'd hear like, oh, no, I was acting in self-defense, and you see that they've like kicked him like 5 times, and you're like,
yeah, can't really argue that one.
If you argue in a defense like reasonable for like self-defense, it's the burden of proof is then on the defendant to prove it, because you've openly committed a crime, so you therefore have to kind of justify it. So throughout the entire time, it is always on the prosecution to prove. Hence why they then provide CCTV evidence, the police and everything, because they're all inside the prosecution. So it's always like, if you were ever arrested for like punching someone, it would be for them to prove that you caused this guy grievous bodily harm. You, in theory, the entire way, if the evidence was shit, and this is often what would happen at police stations, if the evidence was so shit that it basically was one person went, oh, I saw this guy, he had like a beard and he punched someone, and they arrested you, my advice would have been, well, say no comment. That's not admitting any guilt, it's nothing, but they don't have anything that actually links you. If it comes out later down the line, then there would be a reason, you know, that if you want to admit your guilt later, that you took legal advice and so on, and but otherwise you're potentially like digging yourself a hole, even if you were innocent.
Yeah,
you know,
just whatever you say could incriminate you.
Which I found that innocent, because you always think no comment, guilty.
But it's like, no, it's just that you lot need to, yeah, I get you.
Provided, and so it was all these little things I learned that actually, so I'm a big lover of having evidence and context to everything before I'll form a judgment. I still like have my own kind of stupid judgments that are completely illogical, because I'll be fucking boring and a robot if I wasn't.
So what do you find you apply that to?
I think for me it would be, say, like meeting people, and okay, so like with my job on the weekends I'll go and do deliveries. Sometimes you turn up to the door and people are just fucking cunts. So my initial reaction would naturally be, well, you're a fucking cunt. Fuck you, I'll take your shopping back to the shop. But instead it's like, right, well, sometimes then the wife might turn up and kind of apologise and be like, I'm really sorry, like he's just been fired or something. It's like, right, okay, it's still not right to treat other people like a cunt, but at least there's kind of some justification. So moments like that I'll apply it to. I think as well, meeting new people is, say, like I'm attracted to someone, like in a romantic setting, if you, it's why I don't want to go back on Tinder or anything like that, is you naturally kind of judge someone purely by their eyes. By their eyes and nothing else. You judge them by their looks, right?
All right, I was literally about to say, really?
Yeah. No,
as in really to the eyes. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I've got an eye fetish.
What can you do?
I was going to say,
what can you do with that? Look at them?
Maybe just. No, you could
just. You can't. It's not like you can't even touch them, mate.
No. My eyes.
They'd be like, ow. Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So something on like Tinder. Yeah. Okay. It's quite tricky to formulate it, but so something like Tinder, you match with someone because you find them attractive, which is great. You're both hopefully on the same understanding that you find one another like mutually attractive. You probably haven't read their bio, and it usually doesn't say much. Like, I know my bio on Tinder used to be, I want someone to fuel my guitar and tattoo addiction. It was pretty shit. It doesn't say much about me other than I like guitars and tattoos. Equally, it says pretty much everything about me.
Yep.
But
he's as shallow as he appears, but equally as beautiful as he appears. So you know.
You're too kind. So, and then it seems like an unwritten rule on Tinder that you either fuck or go into a relationship. Like you kind of don't really get to explore someone until, let's say, I was chatting about this last night. You get to a good thing. Almost like the goal of these dating apps is to get off the app. So you've met this person, all your conversation is directed at going into a relationship. I have no idea why I'm using this as an example, but I'll carry on that train of thought. So by the time you kind of get on that date, you've had a great date, you know, you've probably been like very flirtatious on text, you've established some sort of mutual interest. It might be like a music choice or like a type of drink, which is why you've gone to a specific bar, for instance. You meet up, you have a good time, you kind of see them again, and then you find yourself taking yourself off like Tinder, for instance. That's when you then kind of left into the wide open world to actually meet them. Like, no longer do you have this goal of getting into a relationship. You're now kind of fully exploring and learning about somebody without actually kind of having an end goal in mind. Like, it seems like in Tinder, I can only ever speak from my experience, but like with Tinder, your conversation is aimed at meeting up to then go on a date. Then you have that date, you're off Tinder, and then it's like, right, so what's, you know, the only reason you've been speaking is kind of it's quite linear in some respect. Like you're following a passage, you're getting to the point where you come off Tinder, and you're suddenly in the open world. And then I find that's really difficult for me. I don't feel like this is at all come from the question you asked, but then suddenly you're getting to know this person, and you don't have you kind of not necessarily no longer have a common grounds, and you might there might be amazing, like there are amazing success stories about it, but equally it's like you no longer are trying to aim for a relationship, and then maybe you then go, right, well, let's aim to move in together, and then it just always seems, it'll be very extreme, but it seems like a lot of the interactions beforehand have always contextually been towards that kind of getting off, completing Tinder, getting off the app. So I think in settings like that, I feel like it's the context is very forced. I don't. It's not that I don't feel it's natural. My ex I met on Tinder. I'm now fucking my brain up.
Keep going. You're good.
Whereas I think like meeting someone naturally, you don't have an end goal in mind. Like it's gonna be potentially a lot more difficult because at least like let's say like you're chatting with someone on Tinder, right? If it's going well because you're getting towards kind of having a date. Whereas if you're meeting someone like out in the open, you don't have that end goal mutually kind of as an unwritten rule. So you're having to waffle. You're getting to meet them, and it's a lot more kind of natural, and you'll learn an awful lot more about them. So, oh man, I've completely dug myself into a hole.
You're good. Mate, I'm following it. Keep going. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah, so I feel like you get to know that person an awful lot better, because you don't have that predetermined idea that you are going to date. So just starting to speak to someone, they might turn into be like a romantic lover, they might turn into be a fling, they might just turn into be a fucking good mate. But in some respects, it's a lot harder because you're not governed by those kind of invisible guidelines that for some reason just mutually known on Tinder and other apps. But you seem to kind of get a much greater experience where you truly understand someone. So I guess maybe that's why I was trying to get to that point that for me, like if I was to meet somebody, I'd want the full context of that person. So by meeting them on Tinder, I know it's likely you're meeting for kind of very, say, selfish reasons, but a very, very selfish reasons. You're both wanting to either fuck or both either wanting to have a relationship. And it typically, from my experience, is more relationship based.
Okay, fair play.
I've never kind of completed Tinder in that respect, which is probably a good thing, I guess. I don't know. Just never done. Never been interested in it.
It's not going to give you an award either way.
No.
You didn't know
that. Yeah. So. Completely lost my train of thought. But yeah, so I guess
you pretty much wrapped it up, mate.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, you pretty much answered it.
Yeah, I think so. When meeting someone, I guess I much prefer to have it as a very open platform that they can be completely themselves, and you're not. The context is organic. So like, if you were to just sit in a room and like meet someone, and they just instantly start talking about
children,
that conversation can go in like so many different kind of directions and have many different like meanings and thoughts, and for me that's a lot more exciting. Whereas they might be talking about like, what's your view on kids? Well, they're thinking about then going, say, like a career with like childcare or something, or they want kids in the future, whereas, or I don't know, just in general, for someone like me, I never think about kids. That doesn't sound good. Just when saying like that, it's good.
That's pretty better saying like that.
It's better saying like that, but it's always weird saying a phrase that involves anything and thinking and kids. But moving on, if someone was to say that in like a Tinder way, initially my guard would be,
they want babies.
Well, I'll be thinking, right, okay, so naturally then I'll be kind of judging it a lot more. Whereas they might be using Tinder purely as they don't know any other way of meeting someone, which is perfectly fine. Yeah. I think it's really hard when I feel like Tinder kind of instantly forces a context to everything. which is I think one of the big reasons I don't want to go back on it. Because it's like from where I am at the moment, I don't know what I want. Life's going really well. Like I'm speaking to someone at the moment, and it's nice because there isn't a forced direction. So like I feel like it's a lot nicer meeting someone like that.
Yeah, well, it's organic. It's like you're saying. It's much more natural because it's just a natural way, and it will evolve however it evolves.
You can form your own opinion. So it's
exactly.
You know, it's what I find interesting with you is so like we met at a gig years ago where you wanted to play drums with us.
Yep.
And it's like although we're musical, I've always found it fascinating with you that I know a lot about you, but at the same time not a lot like on a personal level in terms of like your family or life. And I think it's the same with you.
Yeah,
and
like
me.
Mutual. Yeah.
And it's really interesting that by not kind of having like same group of friends or anything, we could both form an opinion of each other, like either like it or love it. I love it.
I love how you gave it. It had to be positive or really positive. I like that. That's good.
Really positive.
Very good.
I love it. Yeah. It's. Oh, I'm terrible, but yeah, you know what I mean. It's so that's kind of how I'd apply it. I'll let someone present themselves to me in an organic way, and myself too, and see how I would form my opinion based on them, rather than something like Tinder, where you kind of feel like the only reason to get to know them is for a romantic relationship or for sex, as opposed to getting to know them. I think that's what I was trying to say. But yeah, that's that thought process.
Well, as the Ghostbusters theme tune says, busting makes me feel good, you know.
That's why I fucking love you.
It's good. Busting makes me feel good. We know what he's saying, you know. We know what he's saying.
We know what he's saying, mate.
Well, he's absolutely right. Yeah, he's not wrong.
No, he's not fucking wrong. Sometimes you just got to.
Yeah,
got to bust a nut.
Yeah.
Is that not the lyrics? Close.
Nope, different song.
Ah, shit. Shit, son.
Yeah, that'll be a theme tune for a very different show.
Here's a fun one. This guy I know, this guy at work, was saying his mate's into audio production. So I was like, all right, okay. Thinking, right, elaborate. Yeah, well, I can't really say, but he's doing this work for this company. And I went, right, yeah. I could always see like if he could get you some work. And I went, well, like what company is it? You're sounding a little bit ominous. Let's explore it a bit. There's a certain website people go on. I went, right, where there's adult themes. And I went, like Pornhub. Yeah, like Pornhub, right? And he basically does the sound for a certain series. And I went, is it British by any chance?
Oh, no fucking way. Keep going.
And he went, yeah, so I don't know kind of what your experience. And I went, right. I said, is it by any chance a very good profession in, say, like London? You know, it's a real honour and you really have to understand the place you're living in. To navigate your way around.
Yeah.
He went, yeah.
No.
I would happily do some work.
Like, fuck yes.
How
That'd
funny
be
would
so
that be
funny.
To put these fucking fake taxis fucking soundtrack.
That'd be fantastic.
And I was saying, like,
fuck.
I said, like, well, what sort of stuff does he do? And he was like, well, I don't know, I'm not into sound. And it made me think, if I was, like,
into sound.
Like, if I thought,
do you jerk off, mate? Yeah. Well, there you go. I'm not into sound.
Well, that's what made me laugh, right? Was
amazing.
From very anecdotally and speaking to friends and their experiences.
Yeah.
I don't know many people that watch porn avec le sound on. Usually it's sound off. So to me, it's almost a pointless fucking thing. As like the amount of memes about having the fucking volume like next to muted if you can.
Okay, so there's two things to that. First of all is because I'm asking this question just because whoever created the Pornhub sound, like the little trill, is a fucking god. I've seen so many memes of it's like there's so many like. They were like school productions, and they'll have they play the bit for it. It's just like, or like there's like a jazz band who does it. You're like, well done, well fucking done.
Yo, Jazz Max.
Oh mate, it's amazing. It's so funny. But the So yes, so for this, the acquaintance's acquaintance, is it that he does the intro, or does he do the actual sound while he's there throughout each episode?
Understanding of what he said. Pardon me, that was a burp. That'd probably be caught up. Nice. My understanding is they just send him the audio, so he's not there on like shoot day. So he's literally like mixing it.
What the fuck? Right. So he's like cutting it down.
Well, I guess, but that's what I was scratching my head going. Well,
what is there to do?
Like maybe you stick a compressor on. Maybe would you EQ? I don't know. I just thought it was really weird. Like,
I'm trying to think
would you up the sound of like?
I'm trying to think what work you'd have to do.
Like maybe boost like this woman's shit orgasm or something like that she's faking. Like maybe you want to bring it up.
Oh yeah, the women never orgasm. Come on.
I mean, equally, if it pays, I would never turn my nose up.
Oh,
at,
fuck.
Like,
how easy would that be?
Fucking great.
You don't have to leave this fucking room, and you can just be there like,
no, I need
ace pace done.
Sorry, I need the video to go along with it as well.
No, not the cut version. I need the full thing, so I get real context.
Do you reckon you become like completely You would, wouldn't you? Become desensitized.
Yeah, you would.
To it.
You wouldn't do anything for you after a while.
You'd be like, great, she's clicked the microphone again, fucking bitch.
You're like, Stacey! Yeah. Yeah, you would. That would kind of be a bit shit after a while. You'd be like,
also,
ain't do anything.
Do you think it'd be weird, like filming it, or like being the camera or audio guy? Like you're just kind of standing there going like, sorry, can we get that shot again? It was a little bit off.
Well, for that particular series, it's just it's like there's either fixed cameras,
yeah, or it's like,
so I've been told, or it's the handheld one by the perpetrator, isn't it?
By the perpetrator.
Fuck's sake.
By the destroyer.
Yeah, depending. Yeah,
the Punisher.
Yeah, but it's operated by the people involved, right?
Yeah,
as far as I'm aware.
Well, I wasn't aware that, like, I don't know, like something like that would actually need audio production.
Yeah, I don't understand, because some like it's hilarious. Some like big budget ones. I mean, first of all, the idea that they spend that much money on it is fucking hilarious.
Script read, please.
Yeah, the acting. Oh, I don't think. Have you ever seen a convincing actor in like porn, male or female? Have you ever seen any that are convincing?
No, but see, I always have it.
Oh, you have it mute.
If I was to watch it, I'd put it on mute. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course, hypothetically.
Hypothetically speaking, of course.
Yeah, I don't know. I think hypothetically, I'd
I'm not a subtitle sort of guy. It distracts me.
Oh, mate, that makes my dick soft. That's a new T-shirt. Subtitles make my dick soft. That's a good one. That is a good one. I like that. Shout out Tom Segura. I can't take credit for that.
That's what you need. You need like.
I really want to get that T-shirt, mate.
Just
really
makes my dick soft, and then you can just change the phrase.
I don't know what would you do. Just have it like Velcro, and then you just got like a set. Just go slap it on.
Probably class as fashion.
I almost want to get that T-shirt, but I'm wondering because there's some T-shirts with swear words on that you can get away with, but I think that might be pushing it. No, like anything that says like I used to have a T-shirt which quoted a line from the IT Crowd, and it just said I don't have it anymore, but it just said people, what a bunch of bastards.
Bunch of bastards.
Yeah, exactly. But what people? What a bunch of bastards. But I the reactions I got from that.
Disabled.
The thing is, I wore it like for the first time like in public. I don't only wore it around the house. But I wore it in public. Yeah. In this quaint little village with like my mate, and everyone was just like staring at me like, what the fuck? And I was like, this is pretty a bad move. But it was worth it because one American couple came up to me and went, "That's fucking amazing."
It was.
I was like, worth it.
My name is Morris Moss. Is it not? It is not. Oh, fucking love the IT Crowd.
Yeah.
Genius.
Well, that's hardly fair, Roy. Have you met all of them? I've met enough of them. People, what a bunch of bastards.
That's a brilliant Roy impression.
Thanks, man.
That's
I watched
class.
I watched it too much. Bastards.
Oh, that's have you seen Richard Iowati?
Yep.
Is that how you pronounce?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen his like travel series thing?
Bits of it, yeah.
Like it's just so fucking.
It looks good.
I love him. He's brilliant.
He's annoying. I listened to him on Russell Brand, and he was just really like chill. And Russell's like, because I know he knows him, and he was like personally, and he's like, do you find that people find you? How do people react when they meet you? And Richard was like, yeah, most people are just quite disappointed, to be honest, because I'm quite just an
alright guy. preacher.
Yeah, I'm just not really much of anything really. But he's annoyingly talented because he's directed like music videos, films, TV series, and you're like, you arsehole. You're hilarious
and
fucking talented. You're like, you bastard.
You prick.
Yeah. And you got all of these really like awesome productions from playing a comical character on fucking IT Crowd.
Yeah.
Playing like the butt of all the jokes. Fine.
I find that fascinating. So, I'm a huge Peep Show fan. I fucking love Peep Show. So I then watched Robert Webb and David Mitchell's older stuff, which the name of that series has just escaped me, so clearly not that big a fan. But it's really interesting. I can't remember this woman's name, and you'll probably go, "Oh yeah." But so she was Sophie in Peep Show. I don't know if you've watched Peep Show or not.
I think one episode.
And even with their older stuff, she was. It was very kind of Little Britain sketch show esque. I can think of the theme music, but not the name of it. And it was brilliant. It was. I thought it was fucking brilliant. But she was literally just an extra in that, and then was they liked her, and then got her on to Peep Show to be the wife, ex-wife, girlfriend, so on, so on. And she's now ridiculously famous. So she did the Crown. I can't think, and she was on Broadchurch or something. I'm really bad with that.
I'm bad with those shows, unfortunately.
It's really gonna bug me, but no, she's like.
I'm sure I can picture her. But
yeah, Olivia Colman, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, and she's literally just like fucking extra in this thing, and like,
she kills
funny,
it.
And you're there like watching the sort of humor it was awful. It was right up my alley. Loved it.
Well, did you ever see?
Right up my alley.
That's going straight in your basket.
Yes.
Did you ever see Killing Eve?
No.
So the main woman from that, she plays this French like assassin, like this suave debonair lady who lives in Paris and swans around poisoning people and stabbing them, beating the shit out of them, and yes, so that's what she is. But she was first on TV in My Big Fat Diary, as who she is, which is this little Scouse girl. So she's from Liverpool, but if you hadn't seen that, you just think, oh, she's French.
Yeah, sure.
Can speak English, but she's fucking incredible performance.
That's amazing.
Because I saw My Big Fat Diary before this, and I was like, it's the same girl? I was like, fucking hell, she's amazing. She's so good. Such a good actress.
I think acting is an incredible profession.
Yeah, I can't do it for shit.
No, because I remember always, when you see like some actors and you're literally like, I could have fucking done that role. Like it's literally me as a character. I could have fucking easily done that. Yeah. But then I have these kind of flashbacks to, I don't know, like year 8 drama, and you have to kind of crawl around and display.
I am a tree.
Fear, or a tree, or some fucking lame shit.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand, like, genuinely how. I don't know. I guess it's frame of mind, isn't it? But that they can just walk into a room and just fully immerse and like not give a fuck. They just fully get into it. I guess that's just a necessity of it. But I find it fascinating that you can literally kind of throw away any. Like if I went to try and act, I genuinely think like I would hold myself back by kind of worrying that like people will kind of think differently and so on. And I mean that's the whole idea. You are supposed to. Be believable. But I think my own kind of like hang-ups would get in the way. That's why I find it fascinating about these actors that just fully commit to it, regardless if it's like method acting or not. I mean, effectively, you should always kind of be method acting, but then just put others to the absolute extreme.
Yeah, because you've got 3 different types. You've got shit actors, can't do anything. You've got phenomenal actors like Gary Oldman who can play anything. Sure. Same thing with John Lithgow. Look, obviously the list is endless, but these people can play anything. Or you've got people who just play themselves.
Yeah,
like you've got Seth Rogen, Robbie Downey Jr., Tom Cruise, Ryan Reynolds. They're just themselves in everything. They don't do anything really different.
Like Jack Black.
No, I'd argue that with King Kong.
See, I'd also say Steve Carell, but he's done a couple of films that is different. He's usually the same goofy character
normally,
but there's always that one exception where they're going, fucking hell, you're actually a really good actor.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what that one might be.
It was like
Crazy Stupid Love, I suppose.
Yeah, possibly.
I suppose.
Is that where he's at the beach or something?
No.
And he's like
No,
In
he's.
Love with a Bookstore or something.
I know, I haven't seen that.
That's a different one on Love.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one he was really good at, and I'm there going, right, it's weird not seeing you just as a comical genius.
Yeah, I mean, you've got.
But yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'm trying to think of other ones. It's probably a smaller list of people who just be themselves that they make a career out of it.
Oh,
Helena Bonham Carter, probably, because she's pretty creepy and everything.
Yeah, that's true. Adam Sandler.
Yeah, he's the same person. Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Yeah, same person.
Will Ferrell.
Pretty much. Will Ferrell's the same person, yeah. John C. Reilly, same thing.
Yeah. But it's fascinating, isn't it? And that's the thing, like, with them, do you think, because they've been so good at, like, so let's say, like, Will Ferrell, he's just fucking hilarious. Like, he just is Will Ferrell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Same as any of those actors. But do you think that they were, like, a kind of a serious actor, and then one role just got really good, that they therefore keep getting cast because they were so good at that role, that actually that person is then, their acting persona has kind of taken over an awful, not always, but it would be interesting to see kind of how different they are actually behind closed doors, or if they're so committed to their career that actually they're constantly living this character.
Possible. I mean, yeah.
Not always, but I'd just be interested to see, like...
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was pretty... When I saw him in an interview, was pretty subdued.
Okay.
But again, that was a podcast. They were just having a chat, you know. Whereas, like, I think with him is that all the films he plays the same thing.
Yeah.
So Iron Man is the same as Sherlock, is the same as, well, except for that fucking remake of Doolittle. Anyway, he did a remake of Doctor Doolittle like last year.
Well, the one that the doctor that speaks to animals.
Yeah,
Wasn't that Eddie Murphy?
that's the original. Don't.
You seen the remake of Jumanji? First.
I've heard that's very good.
It was actually really good.
I've heard it's really good.
I put it on thinking it has to be shit. But you know, when you browse through and you're like...
Okay, that's one that is surprising. The Rock is a surprisingly good actor.
Yes, I remember watching him in Scorpion King. That was bad CGI.
Scorpion King was...
But I love that film secretly.
Oh, I mean,
there's something
so
great
shit.
about it.
Scorpion, he doesn't help himself because he takes these shit films like Rampage or Skyscraper or some kind of shit, and he's like, he's just... The premise is just so dumb, but in Pain and Gain, he is so fucking funny. It's him, Mark Wahlberg, and Anthony Mackie, and he plays a... Mark Wahlberg, again, plays himself, but The Rock plays a cokehead god lover. So he's like a Bible...
right.
He's a Bible-bashing cokehead, which is fucking hilarious, and he's nuts. He's just crazy. But there's an older film, which is probably mid-2000s, which is him and Exhibit, called Gridiron Gang.
Okay.
And it's a deadly serious film about Bloods versus the Crips. And
right.
he's in a young offenders institute, and it's basically how he has to deal with all the kids. I say kids, they're like late teens or whatever. He's got to deal with the young offenders, and what he does is they're so directionless. They're just driven by gangs and violence and death and all that sort of stuff. He's like, right, we're gonna make you play football, like American football,
right?
And I'm gonna give you a purpose. This is a true story, and so they just reenact it. Phenomenal, it's so good. You've got to watch it.
Oh man!
Anyone else hasn't seen it? It's called Gridiron Gang. It's a good
Gridiron Gang.
Yeah, good film. And then right at the end, they show like the real guy he's based on, and the real team and all that sort of stuff. Brilliant story, really good story.
Oh bloody hell!
But he's just an amazing actor. I was like, how, he can do this shit, as opposed to like he makes some other shit up like Faster, where all he does doesn't say anything. He just walks into buildings now and again, plugs someone in the head, and walks off again. And you're like, all right.
But I think, see, it's really tricky, isn't it? Because it's like, at the end of the day, it is a job, and
yes,
it's a job you would assume they love, and I think an awful lot of them do. But like equally, like so, like The Rock in that case, or see, I personally am not a fan of Adam Sandler, and it's just,
fine.
But he's fucking minted, and actually he does the same character, which is why I don't like him. But what a fucking brilliant way! Like his career is ridiculous. Like it's amazing.
Yep.
He'll never be a poor man.
He is like, he's like the epitome of a successful actor. He is a star level of fame, that man.
In theory, he might just be doing a job he genuinely couldn't give a shit about, but it's making him a fucking killing. Yep. Because I know, it's that friend of mine became a chiropractor because he just wanted to make loads of money. Couldn't give a shit in what it was, but just went, that's a route I'll be able to go down and make money.
Fair enough.
And it's like, so for me, I couldn't think of anything worse because I'm not money driven. Like, we all want money, but it's more about the success and your own kind of personal goals.
Yeah.
But like for someone like Adam Sandler, he might be, equally, he might fucking love his job, and that's even better. But equally, he might just be there go, yeah, it's just like a day job sort of thing, get it done, make my money, and then live my life.
There was someone who...
That's so fucking clever as well.
There was someone who broke it down similar to you. They were like, look, all he does is he uses the same people for most of his films.
Yep.
And it's pretty much the same film each time.
Yep.
So all he does is he makes the same film with all of his mates, a shit ton of money, over and over and over. And I was like, that's fucking awesome.
I was going to say, when you actually
making the same film with his mates every year.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I sit here and go, don't like his style of acting.
Doesn't matter.
But if I knew that formula would yield me the same results, just like him, I would say,
fine.
Yeah. I'm not fucking saying no to that. Go hang out with my mates. Make a film. They probably have so much fun doing it because they're just with mates getting fucked, and they've got so much. What a fucking like that. There is fucking genius.
Yeah. Amazing. I was like, when I heard that, I was like, that sums it up. It's brilliant.
No, 100%. I'd happily do that. I'd fucking give a shit. That's when I'll be a bit swayed. I'll be like, yeah, I'll do that for a bit, and then do some music, go back and do another.
I'm trying to think what the equivalency would be for us, because again, with the Adam Sandler,
churning out shit. It would be churning out pop music.
It's so deadly serious. It's like us just playing. Let's say we had a set chord progression, so we're gonna go first, third, fifth, third, and today's gonna be E. Cool. And we're gonna do that for 3 minutes. We're gonna do it for 2 minutes 48 seconds today. We're gonna churn out 9 versions of that in different keys, different pitches, maybe 3 different drum beats. And someone will sing about, love.
Yeah.
There you go. Album. Done. Cool. We've got to do that how many times a year? 4. All right, cool. Rest of the year, do what I want. All right, fine.
Pop music.
Cool. Done. See you later, Josh. That's it.
Literally.
Done.
That's pop music.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the same shit.
Well,
but
it's just groups of mates literally writing the same song. I follow a few of them on Instagram.
I know. And the problem is, some of them are good.
Yeah, like
but they're still writing the same fucking song.
Literally the same, and it is wank. There's literally zero anything of interest in it.
Yeah.
But he's having a fucking great time, making good money.
Yeah.
Literally churning out shit. And someone said that to me at work. Could you do that?
Yeah, probably.
I think if I was...
I used to.
Fair play. Fair fucking play.
No, not to that level.
But I don't think I could get into it and become successful from that. I think
you wouldn't enjoy it.
Because I wouldn't enjoy it, and therefore the quality of the work I'd be doing would be fucking shit because I would hate it. So whereas if someone just went, here's a studio, we're going to pay you, I don't know, we expect, like, here's your team of mates.
Yeah.
Churn out 10 songs in 2 months, 45 grand each or something per month. I'd be like, yeah, fine, sorted.
Yeah.
Like, and the team's already like developed, fucking brilliant. I wouldn't say no to that. If I had to start it up to get to that point, I was saying to him, no, it's just doesn't interest me in the slightest, and therefore I think the quality of the work would show.
So that example for the pop stuff.
Yeah, so
got it. Okay,
for the pop stuff.
Yeah.
Like if it's handed to me, the same with acting, right?
Yeah, why not?
Think of all the actual like effort Adam Sandler and all these actors and actresses, like you would have to get into, like go through literally all the shit to be able to start. It's the same with any sort of industry, actually, not just creative. Any industry.
I say particularly more creative because if you corporate, you can start fairly decent.
Well, if you've got something like a degree, it's
and
you just
nothing
jump
even
up multiple ladders.
Yeah, nothing even applicable. You can be like,
you can do a fucking
degree
in geography and go do
work for accountancy or something.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, my bad. Go for work for an insurance company.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
you just or HR or something. You're just pushing numbers around.
Well, it's what I found on the philosophy degree. Why are you doing philosophy? Get a degree.
Well, philosophy is weird.
Makes sense.
People really like people with philosophy degrees, though. Sorry, companies really like people with philosophy degrees
because you're a critical thinker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Massively. And and depending on if you specialise in philosophy, I thought the course that I was looking at was philosophy, and I think there was a huge component of it was structuring an argument.
Yeah,
and that really interested me. And so I think they'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's take it, let's go, kind of thing.
they basically, I became like really fucking depressed when I was at uni, so that's why I ended up leaving. But I enjoyed the philosophy degree, but they wouldn't let me finish it online. They recorded all their like lectures and everything was posted online, and you could submit everything online. So I went, can I not just do it from home? No, because if you don't attend and take the register, you'll get kicked off the course. And I literally explained everything, and they still said no, so that's why I left. But it was fascinating, very mindfucky, arguing over the existence of shit like this, and you're just there going.
It fucked me off. I got like halfway through my second year of philosophy at A level, and so we're like, all that time we've gone through like the arguments for God, against God, reason and emotion, analytical, deontology, all that sort of shit. And then at that point, my teacher went, in the end, you can't prove it either way, so what's the point? And I was just like, but the thing,
you chuckle then just die inside.
No, but the thing was, he was saying that to test us, whereas I went, oh, it's still so fucking interesting to talk about though, and because it's arguably the philosophy, the easiest thing to do it on is God.
Yeah.
And like existence and stuff, because that's just an easy subject to do it on. Whereas if you can spend a couple of years talking about that, it then teaches you how to approach everything.
Yeah.
And how you think and discuss everything and anything.
I think it's why I was relatively equipped to do law, because I'd done philosophy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, precisely.
One of my friends of mine is, no, she didn't study philosophy, but she's going into law, but did music. But yeah. Really interesting one. This PhD student told me when I was doing philosophy, because we're going through an essay, and I was just like, look, I just don't understand it. I'm going around in circles. I just don't understand it. And he looked at me and was like, talk. I can't remember what it was on. Probably Descartes or something. We're just getting like,
I think, therefore I am. Yeah, go on. Hashtag original thoughts.
So I was saying I don't understand it and whatnot. No, it can't have been Descartes, but we're saying that, and he said, I don't think it's the case. He said often it's not the case that you don't understand it, it's the fact you don't agree with it, and you get confused by understanding. And I thought, that's really fucking interesting.
That's a very interesting point.
So it's like people fighting in a club, right? Yeah, I've blown your mind. I'll take credit for that. Josh Riordan said that.
It's often
not the clever PhD student. Fuck him.
It's often, I don't have a PhD. It's off. All right, yeah. It's often not that you don't understand it. It's not that you don't understand it. It's you don't agree with it.
Yeah. So people having a fight outside a nightclub. What would you do? I don't fucking understand why they do that. Because it doesn't always apply, But
of course,
in that case, like, that's a really clear example, isn't it? Because you don't agree with people just aimlessly fighting and fucking over each other's lives.
Damn. It's not
like, you understand it, you just don't agree with it.
I don't agree with it.
I just thought that was really interesting. And like I say, it doesn't apply to everything, but
no, but to a lot. Fucking hell.
That was the best thing I ever took away from my 3 attempts at university.
Dude, I'm gonna get that tattooed on my chest.
Yeah,
fucking hell.
That's the sort of thing I wouldn't mind getting tattooed. Like, I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, that's still my idea, bitch.
I just don't understand it.
I
don't understand why you take my idea.
We should get half of each. So we got to stand next to each other.
What does it say? You'd understand.
Yeah.
You don't get angry at it. Don't disagree with it.
Or we can get across our knuckles. We line them up next to each other.
I've kind of fucked it because I got this heart on there. Like, I've always.
I can turn that into an O. It's easy.
Yeah, well, I could always get them there, but I just don't think.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No, I was thinking, like, if you have words, you always start with the top line, and then if you want more words, that's when you'd go down there, or like shapes or patterns. But
shapes, fair enough. Yeah,
like, I've kind of, I don't know. So yeah, Mum was like, I want you to get a heart where on your finger. Alrighty then.
Oh, your mum asked for that.
Yeah, so
fair enough.
As
Mama Rach.
Sweet Mama Rach. I didn't have a tattoo on me beforehand, of kind of signifying my love for my mother. So hence a little heart on the old finger.
Didn't have it beforehand.
Oh, punny. Yeah, that's fucking good.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's what I'm here for.
I understand it though.
You just don't agree with it.
Mate, actually, I'm glad you like that as well.
That's brilliant. That's really good.
I've said it to someone before, and they just looked at me and went, "That's just fucking stupid," and then just left it. And then you start questioning it, going, "Oh, maybe I was just sucked up," sucked up in the moment of uni.
Yeah, you were.
It was just so impressed by this big PhD.
Well done. Very, very good, sir. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
yeah.
I
I
used to agree with it,
I really like that. I really like that.
mate. Done it. You blown my
See, I
mind.
waffle to fuck, but I have the odd useful
It was worth
thing to say.
It was worth waiting 2 hours for that.
It's been 2 hours.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
No, all right.
what is it? 1601.
Yeah, no. I was looking at the temperature. I was like, wait. No. I thought that was 16. I was like, no, we're okay.
I read it as 18, but of course it's the 18th. It's 9 degrees.
Yeah. Oh, 9 degrees. Snap. I think I'm just looking at time. I'm thinking because
Yeah, I was gonna say what are you feeling time wise? Do you wanna
I'm thinking I've
end it on something philosophical like that?
well, annoyingly, I've got to go at 5.
All right. Mate.
It's up to you, mate. Because I mean, if we can keep on going, or we can do a brief bit of music. It's just up to you if you want the hassle of setting up everything.
I don't mind, mate. I'm just glad you enjoyed that philosophical.
Well, okay. Well, I wanted to go back to something that.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's continue with this. Then.
Yeah, I want to
Can
go
I
back to something.
Can I have a quick puff of the old magic stick?
Yeah.
I'll literally
He means his vape.
I'll be 2 seconds. I have to vape outsiders. I'm not allowed to vape in here.
He's being a good boy. See, I don't know if this is mic. It is. Hello, here's the mic.
I also want to take a moment to apologise for on our last call on the Zoom one.
Yeah.
Because my connection kept going out. When it comes back on, I'm playing a fucking bass guitar and it just looked like a cunt. So I'm so sorry. It wasn't.
Well, mate, I look like a fucking retard. Just I was trying to fill the space by myself.
No, that's what makes it worse. Then I come back on. I'm like,
Well, you walked off.
Oh no! So I think we're on Zoom and it was trying to reconnect and like waiting to be admitted or something.
Yeah.
And it was just playing up, so I was just sat there having a twiddle whilst I can.
Hey, whatever gets you off, mate, you have a twiddle. I'm gonna say because for in here, have you got a router in here, or are you relying on the house?
We have a Wi-Fi disc. There.
So that's
It's
a
like a
sheet
booster,
of
so
paper, mate. That's not a Wi-Fi disc.
So, yeah, it's behind the routers in the house. So then it's like boost.
Oh, fine.
Like a booster in.
Yeah.
In here, which Mabel, my dog, chewed through. The
Oh, that's
cables,
fun.
So my connection gets a bit funky at times.
Got ya.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. You said you were going to go back to
Yes. So you were talking about
you
were talking about like sort of how we met and how you didn't. While we don't really know that much like about each other.
Yes.
Like personal lives and all that sort of stuff. I think that sort of speaks to. It's really like nice to have. I think it just adds more value to our relationship then because we are still like from the conversations that we have.
Yeah.
We are still like really close, even though we don't. It's not like we don't see each other that often.
No.
And we don't know a huge amount about it, but we just like I feel like I can just talk to you about anything, you know. I can just tell you shit that I'm like, okay, most people probably don't want to know this.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's...
most people shouldn't hear this. You're there like, yeah, I wish you'd shut up about something.
I wish you'd tell me more.
Something to think
Lets
about.
my imagination run wild.
Something for you to think about later, you know.
Can I get a hiya? Honestly, I walk in every time I go to work. Like, you just walk in. So anybody that's in Sainsbury's, if you hear someone go, "Can I get a hiya?" It's probably me.
I like that.
Not many people respond. Most people are horrified, but it just tickles me. But
also, yeah. that is in any Sainsbury's as well. Anyone around the entire country, Josh will be there.
Kind of like a omniscient, omnipresent.
Keep going. Yeah, one more.
Omnipotent. Have I said that one?
Yeah.
So omnipotent, omniscient, omnibenevolent.
Yeah, they always keep doing it. And also there was that bullshit fucking triangle as well. Was that he can only be one of the three? Not omnibenevolent.
Yeah.
It was like omniscient,
yeah.
omnipotent, omnipresent.
Well,
and there's the argument like you can't be all three. You can only be two. And you're like,
yeah, because like suffering, so you can't be all loving.
Yeah. No, I thought because I'm trying to think.
But then equally, you couldn't be all powerful because of suffering, because you're not strong enough to prevent people from suffering loss.
I'm trying to remember the fucking argument for it, but I was like,
and you can't foresee people doing that, so you can't be anything. That's why God doesn't exist.
Yeah, but it was but that was this is two different things. But that was the one that pissed me off about Saint Augustine, because he was like, God is that which then which nothing greater can be conceived, and a facet of being the greatest thing that can be conceived of is existence. Therefore, God exists. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like you're just giving attributes to this thing, like arbitrarily, because you want it to prove what you already exist, what you already believe. And you're like, what the fuck, man?
It's why logical arguments are only so good up to a certain degree, because you can manipulate your parameters of your logical statement to literally justify any point that you're trying to make. You know, it's amazing the power of language. I mean, so that's the thing, I'm fascinated by language, and that's why I find it brilliant that people like Matt Berry. Have you ever watched Toast of London?
No, my dad's talked about it. He says it's very good.
I fucking love it. So it's the way he will deliberately pronounce words and put emphasis on completely like the wrong part of the word. So I guess, you know, like the Family Guy example, like cool whip. Yeah, so like that. It's like they say, like Bruce Forsyth, so he'll say like, oh, Bruce Forsyth, and just moments like that I find absolutely hilarious. And like the power that literally just by putting your emphasis on that you know, on a different part of that word can evoke a complete different range of emotions. A lot of people get angry because it's wrong. I find it funny, fucking hilarious. Or like even just using older words, so like often used jest, I find that hilarious rather than just I'm joking, I'm just, you know, just gonna. Now I'm gonna fuck it up because I'm under pressure. I learned one the other day. Ablutions, to do your ablutions.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I just find that like that word's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a good word.
Rather than saying like the clap, you say VD. Just silly old.
Venereal disease. Yeah. Yeah.
but you, like I find it's fascinating the power of language. So by using like logic, for instance, how you can manipulate that to, like Saint Augustine, you know, and I often find this in a lot of philosophers. They will deliberately use very difficult language, almost as a deterrent to prevent people from questioning it. I think there is an awful lot, and that was something that actually was never discussed. It was, oh, this is a heavy read. Right, but why was it? Just was of those times. It's like, I understand, you know, things might get easier now because, you know, I guess there's so many different factors nowadays. But equally, it always seems a lot of, like Kant. I actually found him I loved. I find
he was
him
good.
Incredibly fascinating.
He was good. Yeah,
absolutely. He's one of those. The theory of what he says, I think, is amazing. Practice would be fucking abysmal. But
that's like that in utilitarianism. You're like, ugh.
Yeah, and like. You know, I think with philosophy's an incredible thing if it's kept as theory.
Oh yeah,
especially then when you start looking at like Marxism.
Oh Jesus Christ! Because we all know how well that worked out, didn't we? And still works out. There's many shining examples.
Neo-Marxists,
beacons of humanity.
My man Jordan Peterson spreading the good word against neo-Marxists.
Oh, I love that. I fucking love that dude. I drove my sister back up to the drove my sister back up to university the other day, and she was just talking out her thoughts, and I was like, have you ever heard of a guy called Jordan Peterson? She was like, no. I was like, you're literally reeling off what that dude stands for. I was like, this is just her thoughts.
Oh my
this
God.
is fucking incredible. I nearly crashed the car. I was so happy. I was like, this is amazing.
But what I find fascinating with him is, like, that's another one with language. He is so careful with what he says.
Yep.
For a very good reason.
Absolutely. Like for anyone who doesn't know this guy, look him fucking up.
Oh, it's but that's what you know, the classic, like, was it Kathy Newman? Yeah, interview.
Incredible.
He would answer, you know, a question on like pay gap or like sexual harassment at work, and you know, he's talking about, should women wear makeup? Well, are you saying no? And he's like, no. Listen to what you know. He doesn't quite say listen to what I say, but he says it in a much more eloquent and educated manner. I'm purely asking a question or stating a fact, but we don't know the answers. I'm not ever trying to say, and that's what I find fascinating with him is he doesn't usually give. He never gives an irrational opinion. He'll either present predominantly facts, or his opinion therefore based on the facts, so his opinion is more of an agreement with facts.
Yeah, so he gives conclusions. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Like factual conclusions.
Yep.
And then he will refuse to give his own opinion if he doesn't know facts about it. And I find it absolutely fascinating. People like him. And that's very interesting. Seeing once again like the power of words and the English language.
Yeah, I mean, he blew my mind. I mean, all the stuff like the pay gap. I'm like,
that's fascinating.
Gotcha. Because I've heard bits of it before. I was like, okay, that's really interesting. Because I've heard all this pay gap crap. And then he explained it. I was like, that makes so much fucking sense. And it's when he shows the if you actually look at a truly egalitarian society, like a Scandinavia one,
that's it.
I was like, yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, the point of that study was to give the argument being right now is that at the minute there's not enough diversity in men and women in all industry. There are things that the idea being I can't comment on this, but the premise being that women are kept deliberately from certain professions. So what they did in Scandinavia is they gave everyone full egalitarianism, so they could choose whatever the hell they wanted to do. Yeah. Nothing changed.
No, what was it?
Actually, no. I beg. Actually, the divide actually got even greater. I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah.
Which went against what everybody.
Yeah. So people thought there'd be total equality and total representation of men and women across all fields.
I think that's it. Representation. Yeah. There was total equality.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Right. So there is total equality, but total representation just didn't happen.
No.
And they actually got further apart, whereas more men gravitate to certain things and more women gravitate to other things.
Well,
fucking brilliant. It's just like, why are you angry at human nature? Why are you angry at what humans want to do? You fucking assholes.
That's it. And I love his stance on equal opportunity, not equal outcome.
Literally, Amy used those exact words. I was like, do you know who this guy is? She was like, no. I was like, what the fuck?
I only knew that phrase because of listening to him.
Same. But she said this off her own head. I was like, this is fucking amazing.
Amy, I think you'll be a fucking genius.
She is. She's way smarter than me. Way fucking smarter than me. Ask anyone. She looks like me, but she's
I
way.
don't think I've ever met her.
No. But she's off, solving cancer or whatever. I don't know.
Jeez.
But she's fucking genius.
Bloody hell, yeah. As she started watching Peterson.
No, I told her. I'll ask her later, but I told her to like a month ago.
I was gonna say she'll be like, oh my god.
She was like, Dad.
Papa Pete.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean him. Yeah, he's. A man is a god amongst our time. He is what we sorely need at the minute. But if people just don't want to listen to him, he just says things that goes against the norm. Well, not even the norm, because it goes against progressive ideology that wants to force certain things upon us because that's how they want it to be, as opposed to that's how we can make it manageable.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Like you say, he points out conclusions and potential solutions to explore in a very kind of clinical way.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of his favourite phrases.
Mm-hmm.
He's a clinical psychiatrist.
But he is, yeah.
Yeah. And like you're there going, looking at, I found that one really interesting because once again, it made me, why I love people like him is people jump straight in with kind of their conclusion that, oh, well, you won't use, what he got famous, wasn't he, for not using the preferred pronoun of a specific trans student.
The point was that he opposed
C16.
Yeah, from Canada. So if anyone doesn't know, look it up because it's crazy. But Canada was basically trying to push through a law that made it illegal to not use someone's correct pronoun, even if you didn't know it.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know it and you used the wrong one, like you've just met someone,
it's a hate crime.
It's a hate crime, and they would sue you or imprison you. And so he was like, "This is ridiculous because." We'd have to read people's fucking minds to be able to know this if you've just met them.
Literally freedom of speech.
Yeah, he said this is ridiculous. And so, but he got kicked out of his school because of that. He just has so much hate because of it.
Yeah.
But it's just ridiculous. People try and force this absurd ideology on him.
Well, my understanding with freedom of speech is not something I've looked into enough in terms of like the actual law statutes within it, or that surround it or support it. But isn't freedom of speech, you can say anything as long as it doesn't incite violence, or
and you can't again, I don't know myself. As also, you can't make false claims. You can't do libel.
Yeah.
But Canada doesn't have freedom of speech, as in it's not part of their laws, whereas America does. I think we do as well.
Yeah, but which is interesting.
Yeah, but it's not a law in Canada. Freedom of speech. It just is. It's like an accepted idiom.
Yeah, because I saw this is going to be very controversial, and I haven't read enough about it, so I can't really give it a strong opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, it was tragic news that Captain Tom Moore died.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've arrested someone for basically just being a cunt on Twitter.
Oh.
Which...
Interesting.
It's one of those, actually, I do want to read into, because I did see, some people start talking about it going, well, he's a cunt, but freedom of speech, he's literally been arrested for voicing his disgusting opinion.
Yeah, and also...
And I don't believe... this why because I've not seen the tweets.
Yeah, fine, yeah.
It wouldn't be right for me to say, yeah, it is against freedom of speech, but... That's like a really recent one, which is very interesting if that's why he's been arrested.
And also, now we're starting to arrest people for their tweets? Now, after the most prolific abuser of Twitter has finished fucking office? You're like, are you being... Not, irrelevant, it's not...
I don't know who you mean.
Irrelevant, it's not in our country. Are you being fucking serious if that's true? Are you being serious? Yeah, now people can now be arrested for what they say. Are you being serious?
But it's interesting, isn't it?
Oh, it's fascinating.
That like, if... On the premise that he has been arrested for... I think my understanding is he basically was kind of making a joke and laughing at the fact this guy is dead, which is all like...
Right.
What he's saying is disgusting,
depends
but...
on the joke.
It's like that... Yeah, I was going to say...
It does depend on the joke.
It massively depends on the joke.
Yeah.
Context is fucking everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like... I think from what raised my attention to it, but I need to... And I will look into it because I feel really annoyed talking about it, considering I don't know nearly enough about it. But is that what people were commenting on is that not only is this an attack of freedom of speech, but it's a selective attack on freedom of speech and arrest, that it happens to be on a national treasure as opposed to all the shit posts that people say, and it's basically going like, oh, he's done a lot for our country, therefore is it now like it's basically it's not fair, and it's not like if you're arresting someone based on freedom of speach,
you're arresting them based on who they are as opposed to what you're saying.
That's it. So equally, I might look a right cunt because I might go on it and actually he has like incited violence and and like you say, like libel, which is a potential blurred line. I don't know, it's tricky when it comes to
I think you just
that's not really something that happens over here. That's more like corporate law.
Yeah, I think Sweden's really strict on it. Like they'll come down hard on you for that.
Enough.
It's
crazy.
Well, I mean, luckily we've got, I think there's the blanket of parody where you can claim certain things and then if you caveat it with satire or parody or whatever, then you're like, if your stated intent is this is a parody, then you can say what you want.
Yeah, but it's context, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think I don't feel like I explained it well and used a very different example regarding the whole tin thing earlier, but it's that evidence, that context. It's like a joke is a joke if it's in the context of a joke. And that's something that fucking terrifies me. And I think it's one of the reasons I've not gone on my PlayStation for a long time is they record. I don't know if I'm assuming they must still do it because it was only recently introduced. Party chats they record, which the concept of it I can understand, because if there's like bullying which causes someone to do a terrible action, they've got a log that they can therefore kind of have. But that fucking terrifies me because in the context of my friends, I know like context of our humour is fucking like it can get fucking dark, and it's brilliant because we have that like mutual understanding.
Oh, mate! For like, some of the group chats I have,
right?
I'm going to prison if anyone ever sees them.
Right, because they wouldn't have the context of it, right?
Yeah, and also, we're just joking, we're just dicking around. It's only words. Jesus Christ!
Well, literally, and it's mad that can literally be manipulated against you.
Yeah, well, if
someone's like prerogative.
Well,
it's just fucked,
people are going to get angry at me. I keep fucking saying this, but Army Hammer is a big one for that at the minute.
Army
Hammer is an actor,
right.
And he had a bunch of messages released saying how basically he wants to eat someone. and that's his
Right.
fetish, and he wants to like crack the bones open and eat the marrow and
Okay.
pour blood in his face and all that sort of shit.
I think of IT Crowd now, but yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. But the shitty thing about this is that it's just a fantasy of his,
Yeah.
just a fantasy.
Yeah, yeah.
If that's what he jerks off to, cool. I don't think he's never done it. He's never gonna do it because it's pretty final. But that's just a fantasy. But the shitty thing is that this is a conversation. It's shitty that this person, I think it's a woman, has released it, but she's taken out all of her messages. So as the sentence, you can see from his sentence structure, it's in response to something. So she's clearly egging him on. But she's removed all of hers. And you're like, you're just a cunt.
Yeah.
And this guy's been dropped from his agency, from film contracts, from. You're like, that is you just. I mean,
you literally ruined his life.
Yeah.
Like that. There is malicious intent.
Exactly, and I think her identity is protected somehow. I don't know how. But I mean, the only thing that's actually truly bad is that he's married. So, he shouldn't be having this discourse with someone. Or maybe he's just maybe he's just talking to someone. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you're like, yeah, that's just fucked up, man. But it's this, yeah, you just expose this guy to the world for maybe you're just
Clout.
a malicious dickhead, or maybe he's offended you somehow personally. I don't know.
Or to benefit not being funny, it's to benefit your own self. In
Yeah.
something like that where you're actively removing your messages,
Yeah.
there's no, in my opinion, so that's what I found really interesting relating back to that first case. And that's why I discovered an awful lot is when they do a swipe of your phone, they can bring up deleted messages.
Whoa.
Deleted pictures.
Damn.
So that was very, eye-opening.
Well, in which case, everyone's going to prison.
well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Literally, like,
You looked at what's on porn? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about, this was literally just like some guys, I think it was literally iPhones, and that's what I instantly went, fuck, I know some of the shit I send to mates and have sent and received.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, and it's also not because and if we look at it from a privacy standpoint as well, you've had previous partners who sent things to you, you sent things to them, that's gone, those images are gone, you deleted them hoping that they're now gone.
Yeah.
But if they can go, oh, let's have a look at these, you're like, whoa, that's been and gone. That's a chapter that's closed. That book is closed.
No,
so
I know
they're not here anymore.
Yeah.
Who are you to bring them back up again? Because me and that mutual person have finished that interaction. There's no need for them anymore. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that's the thing. Like like PlayStation, recording your chats with your mates.
Jesus.
It's just. It's like this scenario, right? We're actively doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Nothing's off limits, but there are certain things. Me and you kind of have an unwritten, without even speaking. I know I've not,
Yeah, there's no names, there's no dates, there's no places, no times.
But there's also certain things I know me and you wouldn't joke about or say, which we would on like a dog walk. But knowing that we're publicly sharing this online, there are like very certain specific funny things that I will make jokes about with very select few people.
Yeah.
Because because you can filter. Well, I struggle with having my own filter, but there are certain things that I know when to say and when not.
Of course.
To,
Yeah.
And
I'm trying not to laugh at remembering what we did talk about. Carry on.
Yeah, but you know exactly what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It was filthy. And it wasn't just the mud we were squelching in.
We probably were actually walking in shit at some point, weren't we?
That's why it felt a lot more of an authentic conversation.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But no, but that's what terrifies me. Is like if I'm having that same conversation with you on PlayStation, and then that gets brought up, or I'm sending you messages that can be retrieved, and to use those services, like Facebook or anything, right? Snapchat. I don't really use Snapchat. It's more just pictures of my dogs for my mum.
Yeah. That still whiz me out your mum has Snapchat, mate.
Big up the Riordan massive. We just send. That's literally my Snapchat is just sending dog videos and pictures to my family and vice versa. But you have to be able to use that, like Instagram. You have to sign up and say yes, you agree to all their terms and conditions. Otherwise, you can't use it. And the easiest thing is don't use anything.
Yeah, it was the safest thing.
But
annoyingly, it's quite disjointed.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah.
It's just I find it's a fucking brilliant and fucking terrifying world we're living in.
Messenger's weird as well because they've taken off. You used to be able to, again, another reason for me to hate Facebook. They on Messenger, you used to be able to tap the eye icon at the top, and you could go, mute, block, call, check, view media, whatever. View media is now gone. So
what, like where you see, like where you've shared like a picture or a link with someone?
So those pictures and links still exist on that chat. You just can't find them. You've got to scroll through to get them because I've got my iPhone, and then I've got my old Samsung for extra storage, and because I keep Facebook on there, so it's not going to bug me. But if I want to check it, I can.
Yeah, sure.
And I looked at my iPhone, and I was like, because some features are different. Some things for different apps I can use on my iPhone, and some features I can't on my Samsung, and vice versa. It's just fucking stupid, but and so I thought that, like when I'm checking this, for example, there's a button that does exist on my iPhone but doesn't exist on Samsung. Well, that's just fucking retarded. But for some reason, I was looking at like messages. I was chatting to someone, and I wanted to go back to a picture I'd shared and resend it again, just like, this is what I'm talking about. I couldn't find that button. I was like, oh, weird. I was like, okay, it's probably I'll do the other one later. So I went on the other one, and it's gone as well. And I was like, there's some of my best mates I've got pictures of. Like whenever we had like a party or whatever. We'll take the picture. We'll take whatever pictures we took that night. We send to each other. At the end of the night. And this goes back to like 2009. It's like, I can't get these now.
No, you spend forever trying to scroll through them for them to potentially not even be there.
No, it'll be impossible for me to scroll through because my phone will crash. I know, I've tried it. It just crashes because it can't load that much data. I'm like, I can't get these images now because you've just. Yeah. Why have you done this? You've made me lose these memories.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
Because you signed up to the terms and conditions. You agreed to them.
But here's the thing. They've amended the system and the service since I signed up. Yep. Facebook, when I signed up and ticked a box, is a completely different system to how I am now.
Massively. I don't think Facebook was listening to you when you
signed up. No. That was 2009, so, It's 12 years ago, mate. It was 12 fucking years ago.
Yeah, shit.
That's crazy.
I was looking back at my Facebook profile pictures last night. There's some corkers. It's amazing going back.
Fortunately, all of the ones my pictures I posted to my Facebook page, I've taken them all off and put them on my phone because I was like, I don't use this anymore. So you can, beside a profile picture, you can all fuck off.
I was gonna say, part of me just says I might just delete my Facebook.
Nothing. I'll keep it for now. I'm not gonna delete it. It's just annoying.
That's the thing. It's bizarre because I don't use it. The only thing, I don't use it in a useful way. I only use it for literally like a couple of, like one of them is Toast of London Facebook group because it's just shit posting. Yeah. It's just literally like a dump for memes.
Oh mate, Facebook does have the dankest memes. Yeah.
It is spicy.
Yeah. Well, what I don't understand is that they've invested zero money in making the website better.
No, I fucking hate it. Every time I load up my laptop, it's like it comes up with a warning saying, it's slowing down your computer and everything. They're going, it's just fucking wank.
They just made no effort to make it better. They're just like, whatever.
They have made effort to make it better. There's more and more ads everywhere.
Oh, that's
fucking
true.
Plaguing every click that you do.
That is very true. Thanks for that, Zuckerberg, you creepy robot human.
You Cunterberg.
He's such a weird looking dude. Yeah, it was just like I'm more unsettled by this than when Mark Zuckerberg drinks water.
Have you seen that one of him with his jet ski?
Oh no! What the fuck?
So there's a photo of old Zuckertron. Is it a jet ski? It might not. It's some like jet ski style thingy, my Bobby. Or it's one of those floating. No, it's one of those like water jetpacks. That's what he's on, right?
Yeah.
But he just looks so fucking alien, and he's got so much sun cream on. Like, the shit that literally, like, it's like you've white faced, like all over it.
No.
It is just too good. It just looks. It's just like you could have the caption like "Money can't buy you happiness,"
he's such a
or "Money can't buy you, emotions."
He's such an unsettling character.
Does not compute.
Have you seen him? He did what did he do? He did a talk, like a TED talk, effectively, but in China.
Right.
He speaks flawless Mandarin. Like, you see, he's like,
isn't his wife?
But he's like making jokes and shit in Mandarin, and you're like,
bloody hell,
damn. I was like, you're even more of a robot.
But I think like it's the thing. So like, say Lucy with Elon Musk, because he's a little bit of a he's a little bit unique But when you look at, say, like Jeff Bezos and all these like ridiculously successful financially, and I can only really speak on financial terms.
Yeah.
They do just work on another level. Like they are so fucking driven.
Yeah.
And I think that must be the same with Zuckerberg.
Yeah,
like,
has to be.
He's just that. I don't think his brain can shut off.
No. Well,
I don't think he'll be able to reboot, but
yeah, exactly. Well, he's the,
it's mad.
he's the CEO of one of the most fucking influential platforms on the entire planet. Like, that is crazy. If you look,
one man.
Him and Bezos, you're like,
him,
Bezos, whoever's in charge of Google, you're like, you guys can control the world. But it's weird shit because it's just through like, I mean, Facebook itself doesn't do anything, but it's worth so much money because so many people use it. It doesn't do anything though.
It's purely for like the clicks.
Yeah, Google, like Amazon, is worth money because it itself makes money. It's a selling platform.
Yeah.
Google is worth a lot of money because it's an access to information. But Facebook itself is like, it itself intrinsically has no value at all. If no one was using it, wouldn't make it.
It's basically cloud storage.
Yeah, but it's like
if you want to use it for that. Well, I mean, it basically is. It's shit posts.
Yeah, you just store like your stupid thoughts.
It's like, here's just a place to literally store a photo or a piece of text.
I don't like storing photos on it. You're just like, oh.
It's just weird. What I find weird is, I mean, it makes sense, and I do sound potentially very idiotic saying it, but have you ever Googled your own name? I'm sure you have. Most people have. I can't be that much of an egotistical prick.
I think I have, but a while ago, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird. Right, moving. No. So,
dickhead.
The weirdest one for me is like when you search your name and then like a random photo of you from Facebook is on there, and you're scratching your head going, why the fuck's that there? And you're thinking, well, logically, I've uploaded it in the past. You know, it might be like I've got a classic one of me standing in front of a mirror taking a very awkward selfie
we've all been there with selfies
with pink dyed in the hair as well. I looked fucking tragic, but I thought I was unreal at the time.
So cool.
But like I saw that appear on a Google search for my name, and I'm there going, why the fuck is that one chosen? Like, I was thinking, how the hell do I get this taken down? Like, why is that coming up on a Google search? And I was thinking, I mean, it makes sense. I've literally posted that photo myself at a point in time, and I haven't gone back and deleted it.
Yeah.
So I do want to. I'm kind of overdue a cull on just going through almost every. If that's the thing, I would like to manually delete my entire Facebook and just have it there as a way of accessing.
I did. I deleted it.
But see, I don't.
Except the posts, I can't get rid of. But the images are gone.
Well, so that's the thing. My friend often sends me posts that we posted from like when we were like 10 years ago, and he's saying, I've broken mine down, maybe you should do the same. I'm looking at them going, oh boy, yeah, times have changed, that's been taken down.
Okay, okay, I'll have to do the same.
So he manually goes through and deletes his post, and that's the thing. In my simplistic brain, I wish to just hit delete, like clear all, like on history, just clear history. Jobs are good, no one will ever know. But I don't think that would work if I just hit delete, and that's what scares me, is I don't want to have to then spend the time just going through fucking old posts, shaking my head, going delete.
You do. Yeah, there's not.
I don't think there is there?
Because
like quick fire.
Because the similar thing, same thing with photos is that I wanted to export all of them to my phone, and they have a button for it. I was like export album, whatever.
Okay.
I was like, cool, let's do it. And it was like, yeah, we're just loading, preparing, cool. Takes you to a redirect page going, oh, sorry, we can't fulfill that request. And no matter what device I use it on, iPhone, Samsung, laptop, tablet, doesn't work. I'm like, so I had to do manually copy every fucking picture and then manually delete every fucking picture. I was just like, you cunty website.
I hope they provided you with some very useful targeted ads on the side, just to ease your pain a little bit.
I got some like socks or something.
That's nice. Did you search for socks, or did they just listen to a conversation?
No, I think they heard me say sucks, and then you just like
socks.
They went, oh yeah, we sell socks. I'm just like, that's not what I'm talking about. All right.
Can you buy that online? Is that right? Buying socks?
Socks, yeah, I'm sure you can.
Socks? Oh, socks.
Not online. I'll give you a number.
My man.
Yeah.
What a fun place to live in.
It is though, because we have this.
It is actually. I mean, that's the thing. Technology is literally a double-edged sword. Right. I'm thinking we end it there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like my dogs are going to come and intrude and bite through your microphone cables.
Probably good to somehow salvage them, you know.
Pardon?
What?
Pardon?
¿Qué pasa? It has happened already?
Right. Well, mate, thank you very much for this.
Thank you again. Thank you again for letting me.
Beautiful. Sit on my casting sofa.
To be fair, people, I think even if you just show people the sofa, they go, "Yep, take all their clothes off."
Mate, if I could rent this out, if I could take advantage of it,
mate, this literally is a pimp sofa. You know that, right?
Why do you think I'm sat like a G?
You do not understand how many people messaged me after I posted the first video going, "I love this sofa," and I'm like, if this sofa could talk, it'd be like, "Clean me, please. I just want to be cleaned."
Not again.
Not again. I'm just so traumatized. Oh, all of Josh's naked ass.
Have you seen Badmouth?
No.
That shot. There's this character that makes love and very bizarrely kind of basically fucks his pillow.
Oh yeah.
And the pillow's like animated and talks and is alive, and then it gives birth to a baby pillow. So if you'd have seen it, I'd have kind of patted at this and you'd have understood.
I would have got it. Okay.
So yeah, I don't actually fuck the pillows always.
Just on a Thursday. Wait.